This is the matter of V versus Patel and Rusomano, docket L, 2024-25. Today is April 10th. A couple minutes after 11 a.m. on Judge Toto in Court 201, we have a counsel appearing both in person and remotely, and for the purpose of everyone here, this matter is being live streamed. Counsel may have your appearances starting with plaintiff's counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Raj Parikh, along with my colleague Max Renzato from Hemlock LLP on behalf of the plaintiffs.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Alyssa Zara, which is from King Mention Collins, appearing on behalf of the respondents, Patel, Jaysh, Mehta, Ingrid Chen, and Anthony Cameron.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I don't know if you can hear me, but we don't have any audio. We cannot hear the court.
How about now?
Yes, we can. There's a terrible echo that's going on throughout the court.
You're going to need to lower the live stream that you're working on. Okay. How about now? How about now? Can you hear us now?
Yes, but with that same echo.
I'm still getting feedback. How about now? Nope, not working. You can't turn it on and the echoes. How about now?
Perfect.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Counsel appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. James Mincello, the law firm of Renown, Coughlin Mincello, here on behalf of Shei Rusomano, Township Clerk of the Township of Edison.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Manch from the firm of King Mansion Collins on behalf of the respondents.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mehta appearing on behalf of Nancy Pinkett, Middlesex County Clerk, as an interested party in this matter. And respectfully, Your Honor, before the proceedings commence.
You're going to need to turn up your mic. It's very difficult to hear.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's still low, but better.
Okay. I would respectfully ask the court if I could just make the court aware of a brief announcement before the proceedings begin.
Sure. What's that?
In light of the court's decision today as to which candidates are going to appear on the ballot, the Middlesex County Clerk will be conducting the ballot drawing today at 3 o'clock. And again, in light of the court's order, and I just wanted to make all the parties aware.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if there's no objection, I will jump off the meeting.
No problem.
Your Honor, just before she goes, just one quick thing. If we need, I know we haven't talked about evidence or anything like that, but we may need the clerks authenticate large documents unless everyone's going to stipulate to it. It's just some things that are available on the clerk's website. And obviously, there's the petitions themselves, which if the defendants are okay with just putting those into evidence, we don't have to worry about that, then obviously I have no issue with
Well, anything that's been attached as an exhibit, I'm going to allow in.
Okay.
The weight will be up to the court to determine, but for purposes of today.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Very good, counsel. Thank you. All right, Mr. Motion and Sarah, with respect to the individuals the court asked to appear, Jerry Shei, Patel, and Jaysh, are they available?
Yes, they are, Judge. Mr. Shei, all three individuals should be there. We would intend on calling Mr. Shei first, and I'm prepared to conduct that, question for the court, the examination for the court.
Okay, thank you. Those three individuals, would you be kind enough to just step outside for a moment? Just step outside into the hallway beyond the door. And thank you, counsel, for having them available today. I know it's last moment. All right, so before we get started, I went through and I wanted to go through each of the affidavit certifications before today, just for purpose of really of clarifying and narrowing maybe some of the issues today. So I have a couple of questions. Let's start with the proposed testimony of Jaysh. So if I look at the certification that was submitted, really that would center or focus around Mr. Shei's testimony. They all have to do with, well, let me put it, I guess I should go through the certifications. The first one is Hari, H-A-R-I, last name, and these are all handwritten, so it looks like it's R-A-N-A-I-S-E-T-H. And Mr. Pruitt, these questions I guess are going to be for the most part directed to you. This particular affidavit is indicating that he was approached by Mr. Shei, asking if he would sign a petition for Patel. And he believed, or this person believed, that the paper in front of him was, or he had the impression it was for Sam Joshi, but that he signed a petition that bears the name of Patel. Well, makes no sense. What am I supposed to do with that certification?
So I think with respect to that certification, this all gets to what it is, the impression is that the voters were given.
No, that doesn't ring a bell. If I'm looking specifically at the certification, so I don't see how that certification has any weight or bearing today, because if he was approached by Mr. Shei to support a petition for Patel, and he says, well, and I signed the petition for Patel, but I support the mayor, what am I supposed to do with that?
Right, so I understand, Your Honor, and these certifications, unfortunately, they are not perfect. My understanding from some of the individuals, and some of them I've spoken to myself, is that when they say they were asked to support Love Patel to appear on the June 2025 primary ballot, it was to be as a council candidate, right? And this, I agree with Your Honor that this particular certification is internally inconsistent.
They're all the same?
Well, some of them are, Your Honor. I agree with you. Some of them are.
No, I mean, with respect to Mr. Shei's testimony, you know, the ones that where he was a circulator, if you will, when you look into more detail, I'll go to the next one. It looks like first name S-H-A-I-L-A, is it a T?
Yeah, it's the Rangasetti family, Your Honor.
Same thing again. I was approached by Jaysh to support La Patel, but and I signed the petition for La Patel, but I'm actually supporting the mayor. So that's the only ones that are called into question by Mr. Shei. Why do we even need his testimony?
So I think, Your Honor, again, there are multiple issues here, right? So Mr. Shei, you know, there's issues with the petitions that he circulated themselves. I understand what Your Honor is saying with respect to these. And obviously, I think that the witnesses, if they were called to testify, we'd be able to shed light on what they actually meant when they signed this and filled these things out. And I understand this process is truncated, but I do think that there are other issues with the petitions that Mr. Shei circulated, in addition to the fact that he was part of. I
understand your arguments, right? But if I look at if you scrutinize the certification as well as the verified complaint is attested to by 3 individuals, but they don't have separate certifications. So I don't even know what parts of the verified complaint they're attesting to. So if I look at the 4 corners, I don't even know if we need Mr. Shei's testimony.
So I think we do, Your Honor, because, for example, one of the things I raised at the TRO application is that, you know, what was filled out on these pages when they were presented to individuals, right? These are things that Mr. Shei could attest to with respect to the petition that he circulated.
Well, where's that?
It's on the actual document itself.
No, who's arguing that?
We are arguing that.
No,
It's
no.
part of the
What's the
verified.
support for it?
It's part of the verified complaint. Well, it's on the face of the document itself, Your Honor. So when you look at the petition, right, there are individuals who have filed certifications, maybe not with respect to Mr. Shei, but with respect to the petitions that were put in front of them that say.
Okay, let's get to that. I can accept that. So let's go to,
Part of that, Your Honor, just is that, what we want to understand from these witnesses, Mr. Shei included, is, and as I had said, there are other witnesses also, I think, that could testify to these things, is what was their process here, right? Was it that this was a photocopy with the stuff at the top and he took it
Yep.
around, or did he handwrite it himself?
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Shei is a disinterested party, relatively speaking, compared to the actual two candidates themselves.
well, okay, I accept the argument and that there are some other witnesses here, but with respect to the contentions, allegations, claims regarding Mr. Shei, other than your argument, there's no support for it.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay.
And,
So,
and I think we can examine that with him when he testifies in terms of.
well, I don't know if he's going to testify.
Well, so I think, Your Honor, at the end of the day, there are allegations in the verified complaint.
Well, let's get through the other two.
Okay,
that
sure,
because
absolutely.
you may be able to get some of this information from the other witnesses, but I want to be able to rule out, or focus at least, because I'm assuming that you're going to be using some of these certifications with regard to testimony. So if I look at the certification of, this is Ratil Patel. This has to do with, and this says that I was approached by a Patel, believing that the person was going to be supported as a council person, and I signed the paper in front of me with the impression that this person was running for council, but I do not support Lal Patel. Well, this has nothing to do with Lal Patel. So that's out.
Well, so Your Honor, that signature though appears in Lal Patel's.
That's for that purposes, yes, but other than the certification on its face, it doesn't really help me.
Well, it's right. So these were obviously submitted. And Ajay Patel was also a candidate and defendant, so I understand that part of it. But I do, again, Judge, I think it has to do with the interplay and interrelationship here amongst these candidates, in particular Ajay Patel and Lal Patel.
Well, what is it you plan to ask Lal Patel? Because that's the only certification that's out there that questions Lal Patel.
With respect to.
I mean, that is it, and that one's not even clear.
So with respect to Lal Patel, Your Honor, again, there are the issues and the complaint with respect to the petition itself, what was written at the top, inconsistent handwriting, things along those lines.
Okay, I'll let you go
In
there,
terms of-
and
in
whether or not it
terms
was
of-
blank, or if it was filled in later, I'll let you ask those questions, but I
Right.
think you need to understand going into it, that's the only certification against Lal Patel.
Well, so there are two different sides, right? So one is that all three of these individuals were circulators for all three sets of candidates. So the testimony with Lal Patel may be relevant to his circulation of a petition booklet for Anjana Patel and what the process was there, or with respect to the Mehta petition and what was relevant there, in addition to his own certification, in his own petition booklet.
Well, Anjana Patel is no longer running,
I understand, Your Honor,
right?
but.
So that gets limited, why,
Well, so I agree it's limited in the sense that we don't need to have our petition booklets knocked out, but, as I mentioned earlier, and as the law states, voters are only permitted to sign the petition of one candidate for an office, right? So if you look at the voters who signed Anjana Patel's petition, for example, and also signed Lal Patel's petition, those would come out. Now, I will acknowledge that alone is not enough for the petition booklet to be invalidated. But the fact that voters signed one thing, then signed another thing, what the representations were that were made to them, I think those are all important. It's important information to understand with respect to what it is that occurred here in terms of the allegations of the complaint, and ultimately what we talked about yesterday, which is what's the appropriate remedy. And so I think the testimony for each of these three individuals goes directly to those points. It goes to what Your Honor asked, which is it appropriate just to knock out the signatures? Is it appropriate to just knock out that booklet, or is it that there's something larger and the candidate themselves should be knocked out? And so while I would have loved to have had more witnesses here, and I accept and understand the court's ruling in that regard, I do think since we do have these three witnesses here, understanding what they did and when they did it with respect to the petition booklets that each of them circulated for these, what I'll call 3 candidate groupings, is important and instructive as to actually finding out what occurred.
So, thank you. Let me just move on to Jaysh Mehta's, right? Most of the certifications with respect to that particular individual has to do with the support for Patel. Now, there are some certifications that he is being accused of a petition that had no names on it, or, and that I'll let you go into. But again, most of those petitions are all to support Patel, who's not even in the race anymore.
Right, but, and I acknowledge that, and we also have the other one here where there's a circulator that's missing and somehow it ends up in
Yes,
that petition.
and I'll let you talk
Right,
about-
so
I'll
there's
let you
these
ask about that.
anomalies, Your Honor. And again, on the face of the petitions themselves, there seem to be anomalies, which I think these 3 witnesses would be 3 people relevant to go into those. I definitely heard Your Honor's admonishment yesterday about focusing in specifically on what they circulated. We've actually happy to send these exhibits to Matt right when we got here because had to upload them, they're too big. But we have a binder for each of the witnesses, I have a binder for Your Honor, for counsel, that have just that witness's petitions that they circulated. So we took, whatever the packet was that was given by the clerk, and then the pages.
Were those already attached to?
Yeah, these are what was it? These are
So
the
it's
full
nothing new
petitions,
to-
but we just extracted specifically for these witnesses. So we're not fumbling through documents. We also have marked them as exhibits with exhibit numbers and put page numbers at the bottom, so it's easier for everybody to follow. To
Even
try to
though
make
this is your
efficient
case
as
and you're
possible.
showing, do you have any objection to counsel doing direct examination of the witnesses?
I do not. I have no
Okay.
problem with that. I would ask Your Honor, since the witnesses aren't here, that we have a sequestration order in place. I think it makes sense, unless anybody objects.
No, I agree. Mr.
I'm sorry, Judge, I don't have obviously, we were gonna have Mr. Shei go first. The other two individuals are party defendants, Judge. So we would object to a sequestration order with regard to the other 2 witnesses who are party witnesses.
Well, I'm not so sure we need Mr. Shei, but if you want to call him, I'll let you do it.
I don't want to call him, Judge. I just,
Okay. So I'd rather start with, we could keep Mr. Shei out and bring in, I don't know, who do you want to call next then? It's either Patel, Lal Patel or Jaysh Mehta.
I would do Lal Patel, Judge, just so long as though, I don't know, I mean, we're not going to call Mr. Shei unless Your Honor, we brought him here because obviously Your Honor ordered that yesterday. If the court is saying that Mr. Shei can go home, then I'm okay with that. If counsel is going to argue and say that, well, we didn't call Mr. Shei, but he's going to call Mr. Shei, then I would just call Mr. Shei first.
Well, I think that's why I wanted to go through this first. I don't know what the proffer is really that leaves us that we need Mr. Shei's testimony based on the certifications that challenge him.
Well, Your Honor, I think it's not I understand the certifications. Certifications are just pieces of evidence to support kind of the overall narrative here. And I would assert that in the verified complaint, we've called into question the entire petition packet that was submitted, including every single circulator, right? We limited it yesterday to Mr. Shei. Mr. Shei's petitions that he circulated, we marked one as Exhibit 1, which is the petition that he circulated for Mr. Patel.
Right, he had a couple.
Yeah, he had a couple of them. I think that the testimony we would deduce from, I actually think he'd be the fastest one, frankly, would be with respect to the fact that he's familiar with the process. I'm sure Matt's going to have questions for him about his certification, because everything he says they're honest and truthful, and the timing. And then as well as
what's your position with respect to having Mr. Shei and the other 2 individuals appear in the courtroom without sequestration since they're part of this?
So I don't think it's appropriate. I think under Rule of Evidence 615, the court has broad discretion to sequester witnesses. Your Honor's aware that the idea behind sequestration is to discourage collusion and expose contrived testimony. Two cites, State versus Popovich, which is Appellate Division 2009 at the 964 Atlantic 2nd 804. There's also the Morton Buildings versus Results case. To me, it's within the court's discretion. I think given the allegations in the complaint here, it makes sense. I think once those witnesses are done testifying, I have no problem with them sitting in the courtroom. But until they testify, I think it would make sense for them to be separated, especially since each of them circulated petitions for the other.
Your Honor, if I may just add, in support of Mr. Parik's request for sequestration, on behalf of the clerk, we also join in that request. Based on the allegations of misrepresentation and for the integrity of the hearing, we request that sequestration be applied to all witnesses. Thank you.
Yeah, in this particular case, I'm going to allow for the sequestration, just because their testimony is likely to be similar in nature, and the questions are going to be very similar in nature as to each of these potential witnesses, and I'd rather hear from them independently. So would you please call in Officer Shei? Mr. Shei, would you be good enough to please come up here to my left?
Okay.
Remain standing so you can be sworn in. Right here.
Oh,
Remain standing or are you sworn in?
raise your right hand, please. State your full name for the record. Jaysh. Spell your last. S-H-I. You swear or affirm testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes. You can lower your hand, keep the voice up, be recorded. Thank you.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Mr. Shei, good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
I'm Judge Toto. The attorneys here are going to have some questions for you.
Okay.
Please keep your voice up. If you don't understand any of the questions, let the attorneys know so they can repeat or rephrase it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may just approach the bench, I have a binder of exhibits for Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
Do you have one for the witness?
I do, if Matt wants to use those. It's separated out, Matt. I'm not sure what's the most convenient thing for you.
Yeah. I didn't see that come through on the email.
It would have been from Max Ronzato.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I do have it. Give me 1 second. There's probably no objection to just showing the witness the entire binder. If everything in it is simply what's been presented to the court already, then that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Yes, I gave a copy to your colleague, Matt, and you'll see.
Yeah, I'm getting it open.
Max is going to send you a cover sheet, Mr. Mensch, which lists out the exhibits, but exhibit 1 through 7 are related to Mr. Shei.
Judge, if you just give us 1 second.
No, that's fine.
Apparently I have to use an authenticator app to, nothing's ever easy, Judge.
For the purpose of the record today, Mr. Mensch is actually on vacation, so he appears in somewhat informal attire. And the court has accepted that and thanks him for taking the time to do this today. All right. Whenever you're
Appreciate
ready.
that, Judge, and it is the same shirt as yesterday for the record as well, Judge. The only decent shirt I have for this. Okay, Judge, I'll proceed. For some reason, I don't know, the link needs me to download something. I can proceed. I have the exhibits as well, and I have the exhibit list now. So, Mr. Shei, could you give the court just a very brief benefit of who you are, your professional and political background?
Thank you. My name is Jaysh. I've been living in Edison since 1992.
and I am the current school board president for Edison Township. This is my 11th year serving the school, and I have been relatively active in the community, supporting various candidates for different elections. I have quite some friends in the community, and that's why I was called to collect some petitions for different candidates.
Mr. Shei, you've collected petitions before, correct?
Yes,
And you've done that both for yourself as a candidate as well as for other candidates, correct?
yes, very familiar with the process. 10 years, and every year, if I'm not running, I'm supporting somebody else. So yes.
Okay. And there's a binder in front of you, or will be in front of you, that has some exhibits I'd like you to take a look at. I'll point you to the first one. And the first exhibit I'm going to ask you to look at is Exhibit 3 in the book.
The first page,
Exhibit 3.
exhibit 3.
Should be tab, Mr. Shei,
Okay,
as
okay.
tab 3. And Your Honor, just for the record, it's the bottom of each page. We've marked it as Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, and it says page 1 of 4.
Yes, now I see it. Thank you.
Thanks for putting those books together. Makes things a little easier. All right, Mr. Shei, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Shei, can you just take a look through Exhibit 3 and go to the last page and as a starting point confirm that that's your signature
Yes,
on the certification page?
yes, it is my signature.
Okay. And can you just identify for the court what Exhibit 3 is that we're looking at?
This is a petition I collected for Patel for mayor.
Okay. And when did you generally collect signatures for Patel for mayor? Generally?
It's, I would say probably a week, maybe a little bit over before the deadline, before she submitted. It was, I think she submitted on Friday. I think it was like the week, before that.
Okay. And Mr. Shei, did you circulate these yourself?
Yes.
Okay. There's, looking at the first page, at the top of the page, it says additional signature sheet 4, and then it has some parts of it which are pre-printed and some parts which are filled in. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And on the sheet, the first page, it has filled in for party, it says Democratic, office, it says mayor, and then candidates, it says Patel, correct?
Correct.
Who filled that in?
I picked this one from headquarters.
Okay. And when you picked it up from headquarters, were the sheets pre-filled in, or did somebody fill them in for you at the time? How did that work?
This one's pre-filled.
Okay. And when you circulated the petition, at the time you circulated, did it indicate at the top the party, the office, and the candidate?
Yes.
Okay. Scrolling to, I'm scrolling. If you could turn to page 2. There, it's a similar page. It also, at the top, has the same pre-filled in and written in words. The handwriting looks a little different. Can you confirm, or can you give us any information as to when you circulated that page?
Yeah, so,
Whether that portion was filled in at the time?
yeah, so I was asked to collect 20 signatures, so I picked up the 2 pages, and from the headquarters, and this is the second page.
Okay. Did you fill in that page? Did somebody else fill it in?
It's pre-filled.
Or do you know?
It's pre-filled. I don't know who filled it, but it was pre-filled. I just picked up 2 pages. I was asked to do 20 signatures.
Okay. And sir, I'm going to ask you again for the third page in the Patel packet. There's a party office and candidates. Was that filled in at the time that you circulated it?
No, this one, I got a blank sheet because I was asked to get more signatures, so I got I filled in myself, this is my handwriting.
Okay.
And you can see that, the folks on it are my neighbors.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to turn to Exhibit 2, I think. Excuse me. Yes, Exhibit 2.
Yes, the council,
Yes, and I'm going to ask you to look at the same, just generally confirm for the court that, identify the document, confirm it's your signature, and explain to the court what this is.
this is a petition for the 3 council candidates.
Okay. And did you circulate this petition?
Yes.
Okay. And generally, when did you circulate it?
It's a similar time frame with Angela's petition.
Okay. Did you take them out generally at the same time, or did you go out separately?
No, I go to the people's house and ask them to sign 2 petitions.
Okay. And sir, on the first page of this document has the formal, I guess I'll call it the box of with the candidates' names in it, along with address information. Do you see that?
Oh, I mean
The first page.
It's page 2 with the address on it.
I'm talking about it's page 1 of Exhibit 2. I'm looking at the first page of signatures.
Page 1, yeah, page 1 is three. This is the one.
Mr. Mensch,
Yes.
page one says nomination for petition for primary election at the top. Is that the page you're looking at?
Yeah, the page I'm looking at for council, it says to municipal clerk.
Oh, yeah, it's a page 2.
So that would be page 2 of 8 of Exhibit 2. If you look at
Okay.
If you look at the bottom right-hand corner, Mr. Mensch, it has the page numbers at the bottom right-hand corner on the printed copies and on yours.
Gotcha. Okay. And so were the names printed on there at the time you circulated this?
I think so, yes.
Okay. When you circulated petitions for Anjana Patel or for the council candidates, did you tell the individual voters for whom the petitions were for?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And the petitions that you circulated had the names, the office, already written on there at the time you circulated it?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, sir, if you could look at Exhibit 1 in the book that's provided to you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's petition for Love Patel?
Yes, sir. Okay. Can you, again, just identify and confirm for the court that your signature is on the circulator page and that these are the pages that you circulated?
Sorry. Yes, that's my signature. Those are the pages I circulated, yes.
Okay. And this was for this is for Love Patel for mayor, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So when did you circulate this petition?
This is the weekend before the deadline, the 22nd or 23rd, something like that.
Okay. And how is it, can you explain to the court generally, how is it that you came to circulate a petition for Anjana Patel and then at some point after circulate a petition for Love Patel, both for mayor?
So first, Anjana was running for mayor. And then I heard that on Friday when she submitted the petition, she got some calls and she was really worried. And so she might withdraw from the race. So at that time, Love stepped up to run for mayor. And at that point, I was told there was 0 signature collected for Love. So we need to collect these signatures for him so we can submit our money.
Okay. And, sir, at the time you circulated Anjana's petition, did you intend on supporting her for mayor?
Yes,
And you started circulating Love's petition after you heard that she was going to consider backing out of the race, is that correct?
yes, because she got
Okay.
several phone calls. And she was worried.
Okay. And, sir, when you circulated these petitions, like all the other ones, it has a party affiliation and office and a candidate listed at the top. Were those filled out at the time you circulated the petition?
These were filled out, yes. I filled them out, yes.
Okay. So for the Lab Patel petitions, these are all
They were blank.
ones that you filled out the name for at the top, the candidate, party, and, okay. Sir, there was affidavits that were submitted by 3 voters with regard to your petitions. Have you seen those before?
Yeah, I saw them, yes.
Okay. I believe they should be in Exhibit 4, if you could flip to Exhibit 4.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll ask, counsel, could you just confirm that it's the three petitions, the 3 affidavits that are in there?
It
Somebody
is,
just confirm for me.
This one's 6, Matt.
there are 6, Matt, but there are, I think, multiple ones from Harry Rungasetti. We just didn't know.
They're
The
right, they're duplicates, right?
Yeah, I believe so. They just, it's weird because I think some of the handwriting just seemed different to us, so we included all of them just to make sure we didn't miss a copy. But I believe page 6 of 6 is actually different than what is page 4 of 6. But it may be that page 2 of 6 and page 6 of 6 are the same, and then page 3 of 6 and 4 of 6 are the same.
Yeah, they were all set up.
I think they all say the same.
They say the same thing, that's correct.
They do, okay.
Just
I just want to make sure that I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not looking at something that's different than what's there. But the, Mr. Shei, can you just, for the first certification, is that the Harshi Rangolsetti?
I don't know if this is his wife or his daughter, but so I went to her family. I know the dad, so I went over to get a petition. I thought I was going to get 2, but the daughter was home, so he called the daughter over, and I got 3 signatures.
Okay, sir, when you were, this is somebody that you know?
Yes, I know him very well.
Okay, did you knock on their door randomly, or did you schedule, how did you come to be at their house? Were you just canvassing an entire neighborhood, or was it specific that you went there?
So he lived in the same district I am, on the other side of the big road. So I was in the neighborhood collecting signatures. If you can see that, the petitions are signed before him, the street right next to his house. So when I was driving over there, and I saw his house, and I said, you know what, why don't I call him to see if he's home? And I tried to see if I can get a couple more signatures. So I called him. He said he's at the corner of Grove and Oak Tree Road. He'll be there in literally 1 minute. So I waited outside his house and waited for him to come. So we went inside his house, and I talked to him. I said, hey, I'm having a petition for Lal Patel, and I hope you can sign it. And he said, yeah, sure, anything for you, we're friends. I'll support whoever you support. And I said, I might just put a lawn sign, at your house later. I said, yeah, no problem. So I went inside and stayed in I would say it's the living room, not the living room, the room that, a room that's a split level, it's like go a little bit high, split colonial, we call it. similar to my house. So I talked to him and said, yeah, my daughter and my wife is also home. So you'll get 2 more. I said, oh, great. So they came down, they signed the petition, and we had really good conversations. And his daughter talked to me about, she wants to go to medical school, and she's looking for an internship, and also looking for some jobs at the doctor's office to help with her future medical career. And the younger daughter is still in the Edison school system, so she came, she said, yeah, Jerry, so they know me. So she talked to me about, some of the teachers, which is tough graders, and just complaining to me a little bit. Then, because he's my neighbor, just close by, so I pass his house, on the main road, and you can see his backyard. And they have extended the family rooms. I said, why do I take a look at your family room? So we went over and go down like 3 steps to look at the family room. It's a beautiful room, and they have a little prayer area. I commented on that. And he mentioned to me that I also said that you're building 10 homes near the recycling center. He goes, yeah, that's 10 houses, and I have a total of 13. And I joke with him, you are the one who's making our school overcrowded. So, then I left. So I was there, I would say probably a good 20 minutes or so, just chat with the family and the 2 girls and his wife.
Mr. Shei, when you told the voters that they were there to support Love Patel, did you express to them for what office they were supporting Love Patel?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Did you tell them that specifically?
Yes, I will support Love for Mayor.
Okay. Now, their certifications that you have in front of you say that they're, it's hard to see exactly what they're saying, but they seem to be raising some issue with their understanding of what they were signing or what you told them. When you were there, did they express any confusion as to what you were asking them to sign?
No.
Did they indicate to you while you were there that they supported Mayor Jaysh for mayor and Love Patel for mayor?
They never indicated they were supporting Sam for mayor. Hari he knows Sam and I are not on the same page for a lot of issues. So actually a lot of people in Edison know that. It would be really, really strange if I go in to somebody's house and ask for to sign a petition for Sam.
Okay. Do you have any idea why these voters would have been confused, or why they would have submitted these certifications after you were at their house?
Objection.
Well,
Objection.
if he knows, maybe he has personal knowledge, right? So let's see. You can, Mr. Shei, do you understand the question?
Yes, I do.
You can answer it.
Okay, so I just alluded that he mentioned to me that he has 13 homes and to be built. So of course, when you build homes, you need permit. I see that the 10 homes near the recreation recycling center has been idle for a long time. So after he signed a petition, I heard that the mayor visited him at his house and mentioned about the permits for those homes. So that's my guess. Maybe that is the reason he changed his mind. So that's my guess.
Okay. Speculation, but who said?
I understand the court will give it the appropriate weight.
Okay. Your Honor, that's all the questions that I have for Mr. Shei. So unless
Thank you.
If there is anything you want me to touch on, I'll turn it over to council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Shei, thank you for coming here today. I have just some follow-up questions that I wanted to ask. So you had said that you've collected petitions for many candidates, is that right?
Yes.
And how many years have you collected petitions for?
11 years.
All right, so a long time. You're familiar with the process?
Very familiar with the process.
And so I think what you mentioned with respect to Anjana Patel, you said there was a headquarters, is that right?
Yes.
Is that a headquarters for all of these candidates, for Anjana Patel, Love Patel, and Mr. Mehta and his council slate, or is it just for some of the candidates?
So we call it a headquarters. It's an office.
Okay, but is it the office for everybody or just for Anjana Patel?
No, I would say it's for everybody.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking this is because I just want to focus in on a couple of things that you said. So you said you went to the office. I think you were talking about Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, and you're happy to have you look at it if you'd like to. You said you went to the office. You were going to collect 20 petition signatures. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's the same office. Is that the same office you went to get petitions for Love Patel
Yes.
and the petitions for Jaysh Mehta?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's just start really quickly with PX1. We'll just go in order to try to make this faster. So Mr. Mensch had asked you, and you verified that this is the petition that you circulated for Love Patel, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And with respect to this petition, what did you pick up? When you picked this up that weekend, I think you testified to, correct?
No, this is the empty petition, so I put the title down if I collect the signatures.
Right.
Yes, the weekend. I think it was either Friday evening or Saturday morning. I don't remember.
And so did you pick this up from the headquarters?
Yes.
That was empty?
Yes.
Right, and
No,
it was-
not empty. People were there.
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me rephrase it.
I don't have the key to the office.
I understand. It was a very poorly phrased question. Did you pick up this form from the office?
This form, yes.
Okay. And you said that it was blank, correct?
Correct.
So there was nothing written on the form, correct?
Yes.
And so if we look at page 1, page 2, etc., did you pick up 6 different pages, or did you pick up one page and photocopy it yourself?
One page.
All right. So you picked up one blank page,
Correct.
and then you photocopied it yourself?
Yes.
All right. And did you handwrite in at the top and then photocopy it, or did you handwrite it in 6 different times?
I handwrite different times.
Okay, so each page of Exhibit 1, there might be small variations in your handwriting at the top, but that's because you printed it every single time on the top of the page, correct?
Correct.
And if we look at page 4 of 6,
Yes.
you see that at the top?
Yes.
That's also your handwriting?
Page 4 of 6. Yes.
All right. You got tired, just got a little bit messier as you went along, is that right?
Well, I got to do multiple pages. I guess. Yeah, it's just quick. Get it done with.
So when you went to the voters, if we look at pages 1 through 5, you went to the voters, you had the conversation you've talked about, and then you got them to sign their name and print their name and their address, correct?
Yes.
And did you personally witness all of these signatures that are on pages 1 through 5?
Yes.
And then with respect to page 6, this is your circulator affidavit, correct?
Correct.
So when did you sign this?
I signed it later.
Do you know when?
Sunday, 23rd. That's the date right here.
And was that in front of anybody, or did you sign it on your own?
I signed in front of the notary.
Okay, so it was signed and notarized all at the same time, correct?
Yes.
And when you signed this affidavit on page 6, what else did you have? You had these other 5 pages?
Yes.
And then and then what did you do? Were they loose? Were they stapled? How did
They're
that?
stapled together.
All right, so you stapled these 5 pages together, and then you signed page 6,
Correct.
and then that was the packet you submitted.
Yes. Well,
And then-
I don't know who submitted. I just gave it to them.
All right, and who did you give this packet to?
I just left to the the folks in the room at that time.
Do you recall anybody that was there?
Yeah, it was AJ.
AJ.
AJ Patel.
Okay, so you gave these to AJ Patel.
Correct.
Was there anybody else there at the time?
There might be some others, but I don't recall.
Okay. And was page 6 stapled to your packet, page 1 through 5, or no?
When I think so. When I after I signed it, yes, they stapled it.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my other question for you, sir, if we just look at any one of these pages, on the bottom right-hand corner, there is a number in a circle. Do you see that?
Yes,
All right. Do you know who put those on there?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's just turn quickly to Exhibit 2, if you could. So, on the first page, did you have this first page, page 1 of 8, when you were walking around with the petition booklet, or no?
Yes,
Okay, so you have that page for this one.
correct.
And then did you also have, you had all the rest of it, page 2 through 8?
Two. See, these other pages, 5, 4 through 8, they are separate pages.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to ask about. I'm glad you
Yes.
asked that. So when you went to...
When I get the first 2 pages full, and I just walk around with the actual sheet.
Okay, that's perfect. So those are the questions I wanted to ask. So you went and you collected, we look at page 2 of 8, you had page 1, page 2, and page 3, is that correct?
Correct.
And then you had, you yourself signed it, you had David Yee sign it, correct?
Mhm.
All right. And then what did you do with pages 1 through 3 after you got the 10 signatures?
I just left them at home.
All right, you left them at home.
Yeah,
And-
because I don't want them to get wrinkled and everything.
Okay. And then, where did you get page 4 from?
This is pre-printed, I got it from the headquarters again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was the top of this, is this your handwriting at the top of page 4?
No, that's not my handwriting, no.
Or do you know whose handwriting that is?
I have no idea. Could be AJ's, could be somebody else, I have no idea.
And was it a photocopy of one page, or was it handwritten on every single page?
Well, it looks like it's looks like it's handwritten. It could be, it could be photocopied or could be handwritten. I don't know. This is a photocopy to me. I don't have the originals, but they look similar.
Mr. Shei, I'm just gonna, if you don't know, you don't
Yeah.
need to guess. And
Okay.
if you are gonna guess, let me know. But-
Okay.
Okay, so that's perfectly fine, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you for what's on the document, I'm just asking for your best memory. Was it handwritten when you picked them up? For example, well, let me ask it a different way. How many pages did you pick up afterwards? Did you just pick up one page at a time?
No, I think I picked like 3 or 4 pages.
Okay. And when you picked up those 3 or 4 pages?
Because I know we need more signatures, so I picked them because I only had, the 2, the one that's already did, and I need more.
Right, so you collected the 10 signatures, you realized, hey, this group of people I'm supporting, or these people I'm supporting, they need more signatures, let me go get more signatures.
Yes.
And so you then went to the headquarters, and you picked up a few more pages.
Yes.
All right, and it was it all of these, or was it some of them, or do you not remember?
What do you mean all of these?
Was it pages 4 through 8, was it 4?
I might have picked up more because, at the end, I couldn't get all the signatures, so there'll be some empty ones, I just tossed them away.
Okay, perfect. And that's I guess what so you went and you picked up a stack of these extra petition pages, right? And with respect to the larger team of people that were gathering signatures, is that the process? People would just pick up the extra signature pages and then go get signatures?
I can't talk about somebody else, but for my case, that was the case, yes.
Okay. And so, going back to what I was asking, when you went to pick them up, did you have to sign them out or anything like that? All right, so there's a stack and you just took them.
Yes.
And in the stack, did somebody have to fill out the top before you picked them out, or was it just blank forms for anybody that was running?
For this particular one, it's pre-filled.
Okay. And do you recall, now based on what we've talked about, when you went there into the office to pick it up, if it was pre-filled out, was it just that there was one page and it was just a photocopied stack of them, or did somebody or did you handwrite in everything at the time?
I did not write it. That's not my handwriting.
And it wasn't actually filled out, right? These were blank at the beginning and then somebody filled them out afterwards, isn't that correct?
No, that's incorrect. When I picked out, they were already pre-filled.
And were they pre-filled through a photocopy or through handwriting?
I have no idea, I didn't see the originals, like I said. Because
You-
right now they're all photocopied.
I understand, and I'm not asking you based on this, I'm asking you based on your memory.
I just pick up the copy, I don't pay attention to it.
Okay. So you don't know whether it was filled out or not filled out?
It was filled out, I told you, it's filled out.
So you don't know whether it was a photocopy or handwriting, is that what you're
Correct.
saying? Did you ever observe anybody sitting at the office, handwriting out, 20 or 30 pages at the top?
I wasn't there when they were writing it. They might be already pre-photocopied, I don't know. But I just went in and picked up some copies, for me to go get signatures.
You would agree with me that the handwriting at the top of page 4 of 8 is different than the handwriting on the top of page 5 of 8, correct?
4 of 8. Yes,
And
Yes.
you'd also agree with me that on the top of page 4, if you look at the words Democratic and Township Council,
uh-huh.
it's different than the handwriting on the top of page 5 where it says Democratic and Council, correct?
Exactly. Correct.
Do you know whose handwriting it is on page 4 with the names of the candidates?
I'm sorry?
Do you know whose handwriting on the top of page 4 is the handwriting where the candidates' names are there?
I don't know who wrote it. As I said, it's pre-written.
Right. But my question is a little bit different. I'm not asking you if you know who wrote it. I'm asking you to recognize whose handwriting this could be. For example, you mentioned Mr. Patel before. Would that be his handwriting?
It could be, could be not, I don't know.
And do you agree with me that the handwriting on page 4 of the candidate names is the same handwriting on page 5 of the candidate names? And on page 6 of the candidate?
I'm not an expert on this, so they look similar, but it looks to me slightly different, so I can't make a point.
Can you explain why there's anomalies in the handwriting on petitions that you circulated in terms of the handwriting at the top, where it appears as though maybe 2 or 3 or 4 different people have written in these names and these other things, the party affiliation and the office at the top of these pages?
Can you repeat your question?
Sure. Can you explain why the handwriting, if we look at pages 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the petitions that you circulated, why the handwriting at the top appears to be from several different people?
I have no idea.
So then with
But
respect to...
the problem is when I go there, it's already written. It's a stack of them. I just pick someone.
And that's a stack anybody can go in and grab?
Absolutely.
All right, so any of the circulators can go in and grab from that stack?
Correct.
Okay. And then page 8 of 8, and I assume your testimony is going to be the same, but I just want to get it with respect to this petition.
Yes.
So when you went, I assume you went on March 20th, is that right?
The day, yes, March 20th.
Okay,
Yes.
so you went to the headquarters on March 20th with the packet that's page 4 through 7,
Mhm.
page 4 through 7, and you signed the certification, correct? And were pages 4 through 7 stapled together?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
When you brought them in, they were stapled together?
When I brought in, yes, yeah.
And my other question...
Your Honor, Your Honor, I just want to put a standing objection at some point in time here that we're now spend almost 25 minutes on the details of printed handwriting on Mr. Shei's petitions for various candidates. None of these first of all, none of these specific issues are even in the verified complaint. Any certifications with regard to Mr. Shei, impropriety with regard to who printed what at the top of the paper.
Let me cut you off. I assume this is coming at some point. I think you need to move along, because
Sure.
I do agree. And I let you go through it, and I think there's some basis in merit for it, but I think you can move on.
Sure. So my last question with respect to this petition, Mr. Shei, is when you collected these signatures, did you just go out with one page at a time? I think you said that earlier, but I just want to verify that.
No,
No?
I didn't say I go one page at a time.
Okay. So
It could be like a couple pages or maybe 3 pages.
okay. So you go out.
I'm not taking a stack of 10 pages to go on. I know I'm not going to collect 10, 100 signatures in one shot.
Right. Okay, but so you might have taken 1 or 2 or 3 pages
Correct.
from this packet out, gotten a bunch of signatures.
Probably 2 pages, 3 pages,
Okay.
not 1 or 2. At least 2 pages.
Okay, and then with respect to Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, if you can just look at that quickly. I think you've already testified as to the handwriting and the earlier things on this. So this is the full packet that you took out for Anjana Patel, correct?
Your Honor, I'm actually, I guess I'm not going to object to this question, but it's one thing to go through the details of the petitions that were for the candidates who are still at issue. To the extent that we are going to repeat the same set of questions for Anjana Patel's petitions, which are not in front of this court, I would object to any detailed questions with regard to repeating the same set of stuff we just did for petitions that are not at issue.
Your Honor, I'm not sure what the objection is to the question I just asked. I think Mr. Mehta is objecting to potential future questions, which I understand, but.
Yeah, I may have jumped the gun, Judge. I do recognize that. Depending on where we're going, I guess I'm preemptively objecting.
Yeah, I would ask that, there's 16 exhibits here.
I don't think I'm going to be going through much more than Mr. Shei, Your Honor.
Very good.
Mr. Shei, do you remember the question I asked?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah.
I'm happy to repeat it for you. I believe you said earlier that this is the full packet you circulated for Anjana Patel.
I did not say that.
Okay, so.
Okay, I said I picked up 2 pages.
Uh-huh.
All right, and there was a need for additional signatures, so I got a blank page, I put it on top, that's my
Okay.
signature.
All right.
That's page 3.
Great, okay. And then with respect, and I apologize, I should have asked you this before. With respect to Exhibit 2, on the bottom right-hand corner, there are numbers on the pages. You can pick any one of the pages if you'd like to. Just tell us which one you're looking at.
Oh, yeah, you, 1, 2, 3,
Right, so
Yes.
is that your handwriting?
that's not,
All right, and do you know who put those numbers there?
I don't know.
All right. And then with respect to Exhibit 3, there's also numbers in the bottom right-hand corner there. Did you put those numbers in?
No.
And were those numbers there when you submitted the petitions?
When I didn't submit the petition, what do you mean by I submitted?
I'm sorry, when you provided the petitions back to headquarters
Uh-huh.
after you collected signatures, were those numbers there?
No,
Okay, so those must have been added after you didn't have them. correct?
yes,
Now, you mentioned that you are very familiar with the elections process. Have you ever downloaded petitions from the Middlesex County Clerk's website?
yes, I have.
All right. Your Honor, if I may approach?
Why not?
Judge, I'm objecting first of all to, I don't know, we're here to talk about the petitions of the 2 sets of candidates, Love Patel for mayor and the 3 council candidates. Their certifications with regard to Mr. Shei, specifically related to 3 signatures of 3 voters.
Let me see what
Mr.
it
Shei.
is first. Save your objection, let me see what it is first. Council,
All right.
can I
Thank you,
have a
Judge.
document?
For the record, Your Honor, this is a printout of the Middlesex County Clerk's website. Max
Do I have this?
he will email it to you. We've marked it as Exhibit 20 for identification.
Do you want to show this to Mr. Shei?
I do, Your Honor.
Come on up.
Mr. Shei, I'm going to hand you a document we've marked for identification of plaintiffs, Exhibit 20. You mentioned you had gone to the website to download petitions, correct?
In the past, yes.
All right. Does this look like the website?
I have not visited recently, but it could be. If this is the official site, then it could be.
Well, why don't you take a look at it and read it, and let me know whether you think this is the...
It looks like it.
Okay. And this would be the site where you would have gone in the past to download petition pages, like the extra pages or the other things, and there's links there for it,
I
correct?
don't even know where the actual page is, to be honest,
Okay.
on the website.
All right. Very well. My last question for you, Mr. Shei. If you turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, please.
Yes,
That's your certification, correct?
correct.
All right, and based upon your testimony today, is this still true and accurate?
Absolutely.
And if you can also turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit 6, this is a different certification, correct?
Yeah, this is for love, yes.
And as you sit here today, is that true and accurate?
Yes.
And if you can turn to Plaintiff's Exhibit 7, as you sit here today, is that fully true and accurate?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for Mr. Shei this time.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Shei. You can step down if you like, you can remain in the courtroom.
Thank you.
Who would you like to call next?
I'd love to tell you, Your Honor.
Love Patel?
You can remain standing. Just raise your right hand. State your full name.
Love Patel,
Spell your last.
P-A-T-E-L.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You lower your hand, keep your voice up, and being recorded.
Be seated. Mr. Patel, good afternoon. I'm Judge Toto. Counsel here are going to have some questions for you. If any time you don't understand the question, please let me know, and I'll ask counsel to rephrase it for you. Okay, thank you. So I know counsel's going to be asking you questions. He's behind you, but you can probably see him on the other screen, so I apologize. If you feel comfortable, you could just speak into the microphone.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Mensch?
Okay, thank you, Judge. Ms. Patel, could you please give the court the benefit of your basic professional political background? And I would prefer that you speak to the judge or to the room as opposed to looking at me.
So, my name is Love Patel. I'm a small business owner, and I run for a council seat in 2023.
Okay, and sir, this year, did you circulate petitions for Anjana Patel for mayor?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and is the exhibit book still in front of you, sir?
Yep.
Okay, can you look to exhibit 10? Okay, and when you get there, sir, if you could just confirm for the court whether or not that is the pages which you circulated on behalf of Anjana Patel for mayor.
Do we have the right exhibit?
We should. Mr. Mensch, Exhibit 10 is a certification. I think you might be talking about Exhibit 9.
I'm looking at the
sorry.
exhibit list that somebody from your office sent over, which had exhibit 10 as Anjana petition circulated by lab.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The index appears to have a typo in it.
Yeah, I think we might be on.
Okay,
Yeah, it says here.
so I'm looking for wherever that exhibit
It's
is.
Exhibit 11.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
okay. So sir, if you could look at exhibit 11 then.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, and are those the petitions which you circulated on behalf of Anjana Patel for mayor?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did, at any point in time, were you ever running for council this year?
No.
Okay. When you circulated the petitions for Anjana Patel for mayor, did you intend on supporting Anjana Patel for mayor?
Yes, I did.
Okay. But you were running for mayor, sir, is that correct?
Later on, I decided to run for mayor.
Okay, and can you tell the court, explain to the court how it is that you went from circulating petitions for Anjana Patel for mayor to circulating your own petitions for mayor and filing to them?
So on the day of filing Anjana Patel on March 21st, this Friday, later on she called me and AJ at Jaysh Mehta's office where we get together, and she had tears in her eyes, stating that she got a lot of pressure from even Mayor Joshi, text messages, and bunch of calls from outside people to withdraw her petition. And at the same time in the evening, she told that she might back out, and at that time me and AJ were talking that, let if Anjana doesn't want to run, I can be running for a mayor position instead of Anjana. So at that later evening, I decided that if Anjana would back out, I can run for it.
Okay. And when did you start circulating petitions? Well, let me back up. If you look at, I think it's Exhibit 8, but if the numbers are off, I'm looking for the exhibit which is Love's petitions for himself.
Yeah, Matt, I think just 10 and 11 got swapped, but the rest of them should be correct.
Gotcha, okay. So if you look at Exhibit 8, when you get there, sir, if you could just confirm for the court whether those are the petitions that you circulated for yourself.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and when did you circulate those?
So later on the Friday evening, late evening, AJ and we decided that let us start my process for filing a petition, which was due on March 24th. So AJ start preparing my petitions and start working on it and call volunteers who can help for my petitions to be submitted on Monday.
Okay. And that effort was all concluded over that weekend before the Monday filing date?
Yes,
Okay. And, sir, you also submitted, circulated petitions for the council candidates, is that correct?
yes, I did that.
Okay. And if you look at Exhibit 9, can you confirm whether those are the petitions that you circulated for council candidates?
Yeah, this is my petition, yeah, I circulated this one.
Okay. Now, sir, I'm going to ask you about all three separately, just so the record is clear. When you circulated the petitions for Anjana Patel for mayor, was the office, the name, and the party already filled out, or was it filled out later?
No, it was filled out.
Okay. Was that filled out by you or by somebody else?
The people working in the office, we are helping to file these nominations. There were people, so I think there were people who did that job in the office.
Okay. Sir, for the same question for the council candidates, when you circulated those, were the names of the candidates filled out
Yes,
while you were circulating?
yes.
Okay. Do you know who filled out that portion of the petitions?
I'm not sure, but there are a bunch of people working with AJ. So who did it, I don't know.
Okay. Now, sir, for your petitions, were the petitions pre-filled out or filled out after the fact for you?
After the fact, when I decided in the evening, later evening, we started printing our name and candidacy on the petition.
Okay, but when volunteers would come to circulate petitions for you for mayor, did you already have a stack, filled out by volunteers with your name and information in it, or did the individual circulators do that at the time? Do you know?
No, we did it when we called volunteers. AJ started working on my petition. He started already before calling.
Okay. Did you ever tell anybody that you were running for council this year?
No.
Okay. There have been various allegations with regard to individuals claiming that they signed your petitions but thought that they were for different offices. Do you have any reason or any explanation to why those voters would think that?
I have no idea who has done that, but most probably the Patel, which came to my notice. He mentioned that he was signing for a council and not for a mayor. But I can tell a quote, my honor, that he's a committee man since 2023, and he knows these petitions has been out with the mayor name on it, and he's aware basically the process. So I think he has changed his mind afterwards.
Sir, there was a voter, I'm trying to find it, I'm sure Mr. Freak would point me to it. One voter that I believe had claiming that one of your petitions ended up somewhere else. Sorry, Your Honor, if you just give me 1 second. Yeah, Your Honor, I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm sure Mr. Creek will ask the question that I'm trying to find, and I won't hold up the court while I'm waiting. So I have no further questions for the witness.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, or good morning. I guess it is afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Patel. How are you?
Good.
Good. I just have a couple of questions. So you were volunteering to work on Anjana Patel's mayoral campaign, correct?
Yes.
And you collected signatures for that?
Yeah.
And so can you turn to Exhibit 11 in the booklet?
Yep.
I think Mr. Mensch asked you about these.
Yep.
So what was your process to collect these petitions? Did you go somewhere, did you print these out at home?
No, it was these all petitions were collected at AJ's office. AJ has done it, and this is my handwriting, Democrat Mayor for Anjana Patel.
Okay.
So I wrote down, he gave me paper, I wrote down the name, and I went to collect the signatures.
All right, so who is AJ that you referred to?
Ajay Patel.
All right, so you went to Mr. Patel's office?
Yeah, basically Jaysh Mehta's office. We have gathered all together at Jaysh Mehta's office.
All right, is that what is that referred to as the headquarters?
Not yet.
Okay, got it. All right, so is that where any volunteers would go to pick up petitions?
For time being, yeah.
Okay, so you went to Mr. Patel's office.
Mehta's office. Jaysh Mehta's office.
Okay, it's Mr. Mehta's office?
Yeah, Mehta's office.
Okay, but Mr. Patel was there?
Yeah.
Got it. And Mr. Patel works out of there?
No.
Can you explain that? Because I thought you said it was Mr. Patel's office, now you're saying it's
No,
Mr. Mehta's
Jaysh
office?
Mehta's office is on Octree Road, where we all get together to help these petitioners, like council petitioners and Anjana Patel's petitioners.
Okay. And is that where people would also gather to help with your?
Yeah, because we told that, there is no other place. So, Jaysh Mehta was running for council, so he told that let us call everybody here.
Okay. And when you referred to earlier, there was people working there to fill out the top, is that you're talking about at that same office?
Yes.
All right, and are those Mr. Mehta's employees?
No.
Who are those people?
So Ajay called like few
Your Honor,
volunteers.
I'm going to object. We're talking again about Anjana Patel's petitions right now, and we're also getting into a whole bunch of nuances of, I don't know what relevance it has to who was filling out, who was participating, so I object to this line of questioning.
It's just one question, because obviously who wrote the names at the top is relevant to the direct issues, and that's what the question is about.
If that's the last question, you can ask it.
Sure.
So AJ called volunteers, and they were helping to fill up the
All right. And that was at Jaysh Mehta's office?
Jaysh Mehta.
Okay, perfect. So when you went to pick up this packet, or these pages that are Exhibit 11, did you pick up one at a time? Did you pick up a stack of them? Can you explain that to us?
It was 1 or 2 paper when I picked up.
Okay. And so that would be a blank form, like what is page 1 of 4 of Exhibit 11?
Yeah.
And
with the name, so I put it my name, Democrat Mayor for Anjana Patel.
all right, so you wrote this at the top.
Yes.
And if you look at page 2 of 4, this is a different type of page, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And this doesn't say what office is being sought, correct?
No, it is written Anjana Patel for candidate.
It's written what, I'm sorry?
Anjana Patel for candidate.
Okay, but it doesn't say that she's running, what office she's running for, correct?
It has not mentioned there, but first page already has mentioned that she's running for mayor.
Okay. So these two pages were together when you circulated them?
2 or 3 papers together.
Well, I'm trying to understand, sir, because there's, page 2 is different than page 1 and page 3. So where did you get page 2 from?
So this is what given from AJ,
Okay.
AJ's office, and there was extra paper where I put more signatures because she need more signatures. So I write down the name and I collected more signatures for Patel.
And I want to be clear, you again said AJ's office, so what are you talking
See,
about?
basically Mehta's office.
Okay.
AJ was sitting there, so I was just carrying the AJ's office, but it's Mehta's office.
All right. So Mr. Patel was in charge of this whole process?
Yes,
So you got these pages from Mr. Patel?
yes,
So you don't know why page 2 is different than page 1, but that's what was given to you by Mr. Patel?
yeah.
And you filled out the top of all 3 of these pages, is that right?
First page, yeah, the last one.
Page 1, 2, and 3?
Page 1 and 3. The 2 was already has given from AJ's office. AJ has given me.
Understood. And then what about page 4? Did you get that at the same time or did you get that later?
Objection, Judge. This is, again, all dealing with Anjana Patel's petitions. There's been enough testimony with regard to generally how this process has worked. I don't know why we're asking each page-by-page question on Anjana Patel's petitions.
Your Honor, this is a,
I'll let you ask him.
Yeah.
You could ask that question regarding page 4.
did you get page 4 when
Yes,
you picked them up?
I got the paper when I picked up the papers.
So page 4 was also part of this?
Part of this, yes. When I came back, I signed in front of the notary guy, Raj Bhatia.
So when you went to the office, you picked up these 4 pages
Yes,
and nothing more?
nothing more.
Now, did you pick up the council candidate?
I did counsel also.
All right, sir, if you just let me finish my question, you'll know what I'm asking, you can answer it, okay?
Okay.
So let me ask it again. Did you pick up the council candidate petition at the same time that you picked up this petition?
Yes,
And that is what is Exhibit 9, correct?
yeah. Yeah.
So what did you pick up when you picked up the council candidate? Was it just this one page?
It was 2 pages, but I have completed only 1 page.
So it was 2 signature pages?
Yeah, 2 signature, but I could not make it for council, so I just submitted only 1 to AJ.
And you picked these up from Mr. Patel?
Yes.
And is this your handwriting at the top?
No.
Whose handwriting is that?
Maybe the volunteers with AJ?
You don't know whose
No.
handwriting it is? And page 2 of Exhibit 9, do you see that?
Yep.
When did you get this page?
With the petition of council at the same time.
So these were the 2 pages that you picked up?
3 pages, which one I didn't complete it, so I didn't even submit to AJ.
Were they stapled when you picked them up?
No,
All right, so these are all just loose pages.
loose pages.
And what did you do with this, on Exhibit 9, page 2 of 2, what did you do with that page when you picked it up? Did you take it around with you?
Yeah,
You did. And did you staple them when you took them around?
no.
How did you organize the petitions?
So I have
when
UP.
you- Sir, if you just let me finish the question, please. How did you organize petitions when you went to go get them signed?
So I have a UP for both separate petitions and 2 separate files with me.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. You have a what?
I have a UP in which I have plugged with the papers and 2 separate files with me.
Okay.
One for mayor and one for councils.
Okay. And was it on a clipboard or anything like that?
No.
And did you carry a pen around with you?
Sometime yeah, but even if I don't have in my car, I ask the signers to sign with their pen.
And where did you go to collect the petition signatures that are in Exhibit 9?
Is this going to be helpful for me making a decision?
I think so, Your Honor.
So he is my friend. He is living in Falcon. I know him since more than now 15 to 16 years.
So I'm just asking, sir, were you standing in front of a grocery store or did you go to these people's
No,
homes?
I went to his home.
Okay, so for all of the people on Exhibit 9, you went to their homes?
Yes. This is one family. They are living nearby.
Okay, understood. All right, let's look quickly at Exhibit 8 as well. So for Exhibit 8, did you also get these from Mr. Patel?
Yes.
And when did you fill out, did you fill out page 1?
Yes, I did.
All right, when did you fill that out?
Friday probably at 9:30 or 10 at the night.
And did you, after you filled it out, did you leave the page there at the office?
Yeah, because that's what we have come. Saturday morning we go back there and collect the petition, and we started circulating, get the signs for me.
Okay, so Friday night you filled out page 1, and then Saturday you went back to the office to collect petition pages. When did you sign page 2 of 12 of Exhibit 8? Did you sign that on Friday night?
Yes, Friday night.
And is this your handwriting at the top,
No,
where it says Edison, Democratic Mayor, you see that?
no, it is AJ's volunteers, CSD.
Those are his volunteers?
Yes.
handwriting.
The candidate name, it is my handwriting.
Okay. And then this signature is yours,
It's mine.
correct? All right. And then, looking at page 3, when did you fill out page 3?
Sunday evening.
Okay. So you filled out page 1 and 2 on Friday night.
Yep.
You left them at the office.
Yep.
And then you filled out page 3 on Sunday night,
Yep.
after you had collected petitions.
After collected petition.
Okay, perfect. So now turning to page 4, do you know whose handwriting is at the top?
Volunteers at the office.
All right. And you don't know which volunteer? So for each of these pages, these are the ones you collected, you picked up these blank pages on Saturday morning, is that right?
Name was written there for Mayor Patel. I collected that blank papers with the name and started getting signatures for me.
And was that on Saturday morning?
Saturday morning,
And that's March 22nd, correct?
22nd.
And how many pages did you pick up?
Bunch probably 5 or 10 maybe.
And then for this petition in particular, how did you collect them? Did you go in front of a grocery store out on the street, or
No.
did you go to people's homes?
I go to people's home. I call them and go to people's home.
And so on page 4 of 12 of Exhibit 8, you see that? The bottom right-hand corner has the page number. Do you see that?
4 of them.
All right, so you're on page 4 of 12.
Yeah.
So you drove around and collected these 7 signatures, correct?
Yep.
All right. And then what did you do with this page after that? Did you leave it in your car?
This page?
Yeah.
It is with me. I'm carrying with me with the signs.
And then on the next page, page 5 of 12, do you see that?
Yep.
So you have 4 signatures there.
Yes.
So why didn't you fill out lines, why didn't you have someone sign boxes 8, 9, and 10 on page 4 of 12?
Because there are 4 people living at the same place, I wanted to give them a new paper. And
Okay.
it was not fitting, so I thought let me give a new paper.
So you just gave them a new piece of paper?
Yes.
All right. And then if we go to page 6 of 12, why did you not have anybody fill out box 5 through 10 on page 5 of 12?
Because this family, I know him personally, this Dasun uncle, and he have big family, so I told that, with his best luck, let me have a new form of paper to him.
So you also gave him a new page?
Yeah.
So, and then you had all of these papers with you in your possession when you
Yes.
walked around that weekend?
Yes, yeah. In the car, I carry with my car, so sometimes maybe if there is one paper left over, but I have petitions in my file with me.
And did you staple these pages?
No,
All right, so these are all loose pages.
those pages with the Euclid.
And at the bottom, what page are you on right now in front of you?
6 to 12?
All right, so at the bottom right-hand corner, do you see there's a number in a circle?
5?
Correct. You see that?
Yep.
Do you know who put that on there?
Maybe, we are checking the signature which matches not, so I think volunteers have done this job.
All right, so that was
yeah.
after you collected the signatures and handed them back in,
Yeah,
that somebody
so they
put that on the
collect-
bottom?
Yeah, they see that these are regular voters or not.
Okay. And was that done for all of the petitions that you are aware of?
Maybe, yeah, most of them.
Okay. Now, it's your testimony that you personally went and saw all of these people with these pages, correct?
Yes.
And that you saw them sign it?
Yep.
And you saw them print their names?
Yeah.
And then you went to the office on Sunday with pages 4 through 11, is that right? You
Yep.
can take your time and look through the pages, but the pages 4 through 11?
Yep.
And then you signed page 12 of Exhibit 8 on Sunday evening?
Yep.
And did you sign that in front of a notary?
Yes.
Now, said you ran for office before?
Yeah, in 2023.
And did you collect petitions for that?
Yes.
And was this similar petition form?
Similar.
Give me one moment, Your Honor. Once you handed in, let's talk about your mayoral petitions first, and then I'll ask the same question for all of them. But when you handed those in at the office, who took them from you?
One of the volunteers called Deepak. He used to collect and verifies the signatures are accurate or not.
Okay. And did he do that for all of the circulators petitions for your mayoral candidacy?
For me, yeah, personally.
Well, I'm asking about your candidacy for mayor. So for all of the petitions that were circulated for your candidacy for mayor, are you aware of who those circulators are?
Yes.
Those are friends and supporters, correct?
Yeah, friends and supporters.
Right. And you have a text message chain with them, correct?
No.
You're not involved in a text message chain with them?
No. Maybe probably one or two, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And you have a WhatsApp chain with all of them?
I don't think so.
You're
because
not?
it's like 2 days gap, so I think we were just calling.
Okay. Do you have a WhatsApp chain with your volunteers?
We have created later on.
Created later on, okay.
Objection, Judge, I don't want to drag this out by objecting all the time, so I'm trying to.
Sustained.
That was my only question about that. So when your circulators for your mayoral petition handed in their petition signatures, are you aware of what happened?
Yeah.
All right. And what is that happened after they were turned into the office?
So let's say, for example, one person came with the signatures. The person matches the signatures is right or not, and after everything is done, we notarize that circulator with the name and signature, and we collect with the petitions.
Have you reviewed your entire petition booklet that went into the township clerk?
Not wholly, but I was aware that I have more than 100 signatures, so I didn't go through each signature.
Okay. And who submitted your mayoral petition packet? So all of the petitions, not just the ones you circulated, hold on. Not just the ones you circulated, but all of them. Who submitted that to the township clerk?
So I went with my friend, and I was standing there, and my friend submitted the clerk.
Okay. So you had physical possession?
Physical possession.
Was it stapled when you handed it in?
No.
Okay. And so it was just a whole bunch of loose pages, correct?
Yeah, it was with, yeah.
Can I just have his mayoral petition? Your Honor, I've marked this Exhibit 17. It's the full packet that's already part of the record, if I may approach. Mr. Patel, I'm going to show you what we've marked as Exhibit 17. If you can just look through that and tell me if that's the full petition packet that you submitted or your friend submitted in your presence
Yep.
to the township clerk.
Yep.
And before you and your friend took it to the township clerk, where was the petition packet?
It was with me.
It was, you had possession of it?
Yeah, because I have to take that, I have to submit Monday morning. So at night, I took it with me.
All right. So on Sunday night,
Objection, Judge, can we get a proffer as to where this is going in terms of the allegations with regard to Love Patel's petitions are already relatively narrow in the complaint. We're now going by minute analysis of these petition filing process, none of which is really in the challenge. So I object to this not question unless there's a proffer as to where we're going and how it's relevant.
I'm happy to provide a proffer, Your Honor. We have circulators all dropping off pages, and we just want to know how they came together. Before he submitted them, he's the candidate. He would be the person that has the best knowledge of that. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 more questions at most.
I know that's one of your arguments, but I don't know how relevant it is to Mr. Patel.
Well, Mr. Patel is the candidate. It's his petition that was submitted on his behalf. People are working and volunteering for him. He's had communications with volunteers and others and supporters to go collect a large number of signatures over a short period of time, as he's testified to.
All correct, except that with respect to the verified complaint and the affidavits, I don't know how much further you need to go with it. He's already testified as to how it was submitted to the clerk, whether it was together or not, etc. So.
Right, and my questions, Your Honor, are really related to what happened on Sunday night when people came in, submitted their petition packets to him and then how it was put together. It's really just 3 or 4 questions on that, and then I should be done.
Okay,
I guess,
Mr. Mensch, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Judge, the point is, I guess, what's the allegation as to, what are they getting at? So if it was unattended, there's no allegation to say there were, pages omitted, where are the allegations? I don't know what the point is as to asking the question.
Mr. Mensch's argument is that you're asking this, and that's your proffer, but there's no proof that's been submitted this is even an issue.
Right, I think, again,
That's the problem.
no, I understand, but there is the allegation, not only that there are misrepresentations to voters here, but that there are improprieties with respect to this petition process, including from circulators who are not witnesses here, but are circulators of this candidate's petitions, with respect to individuals, for example, who are circulators who don't appear on the papers as circulators. So that's why I think these questions are relevant, especially because this entire group of people were working as a consolidated team on that day. And this is a person with direct knowledge because he was there that night.
But just my problem is that they just ask the question. So if there's a question about a circulator or a petition that is in fact relevant, then just ask it and let's get to the point, as opposed to, this detailed analysis of the process that isn't yet tied to any actual allegation that's been put in a verified complaint or an affidavit.
What's the next question before you?
I think the question just is, one, circulators dropped off their petitions for his mayoral candidates that evening. What were their next 3 steps in terms of what they did before he took them home? That's really what I want to know.
Okay, so now we're between the night before he's actually taking this to the clerk's office.
Yeah, and I don't think there's many more questions after that, other than what he may say and follow up to clarify.
Okay. So the question directly?
Sure. So, Mr. Patel, right, you talked about how you took the petitions that evening on Sunday. And my question for you is, after your circulators dropped off their petitions, right, what was the process that occurred that night at the office before you took those petitions home with you for the evening?
So after each circulator comes to drop the papers, we verify that signatures are accurate. Once they are accurate, we notary that on side basis with the other volunteers, and that paper goes to AJ. He files that paper, and later in the evening, when he see that there is more than 100 signatures, which is done, and he gave me a package at the night, which I took with me at my home.
Okay. Were any pages removed from any of your circulator? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that question. For your candidacy for mayor, were any pages from any of the circulators removed before they were put into the final packet?
No.
And were any pages of signatures taken and thrown away or discarded or not included?
I don't think so, no.
Were there ever any pages that said Love Patel Council at the top, or just Love Patel without any office that were submitted and either discarded or added to after the fact?
No.
Were any of the documents in the petition packet that's in front of you as Exhibit 17, was there any modifications to any of those documents after they were submitted to the office by the circulator?
Yes, the Empower Dams Unity, because she called, the clerk office called that I cannot use Edison Democrat, so I had to go there and change it. So I changed this.
So you changed it at the clerk's
In the
office?
clerk office, yeah, in person.
Other than that change, was there any change at all to any of the pages in that document before you submitted, after you received them from volunteers and circulators, and before you submitted them to the municipal clerk?
No.
All right, I have no further questions here.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You may remain in the courtroom if you wish.
Yep.
Does anyone need a break, or are we okay with the next witness?
We're okay on my end, Judge.
I'm okay also.
This would be Jaysh Mehta.
Your Honor, can I just approach and grab the binder?
Yeah.
Judge, I'm going to grab a glass of water while the witness is being sworn in.
Sure, no problem. Mr. Mehta? Would you please come up to my left? There's a witness box. If you remain standing, we're going to swear you in. Just face the officer, please.
Come right up here. Come right around the box.
Go.
Stand right here. Just raise your right hand. State your full name for the record.
Jaysh, Mehta,
Spell your last name.
Mehta.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You lower your hand, keep your voice up, and being recorded.
Good afternoon. You can be seated.
Thank you.
I'm Judge Toto. The attorneys are going to have some questions for you. If any time you don't understand any of their questions, please let me know. We'll have the attorneys repeat it so you do. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Let's just wait one moment for Summation to come back.
Governor, if I may approach and just hand the witness the mic. This is just,
Oh, okay.
probably just for the-
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
we're good.
Okay. Mr. Mehta, could you please give the judge just a very high-level overview of your personal, professional, political background?
Yes, sir. My name is Jaysh Mehta. I've been residing in Edison for over 23 years now. I've been in the events business, organizing, promoting cultural, social, fundraising events for the community since last over 2 decades. I'm a county committee man of District 66 and a second vice chair of EDO, Edison Democratic Organization, elected this year. I was sergeant at arms in first year, which is last year, 2023-24, and this year I'm second vice chair. And basically do community service and anything else.
Okay. Sir, are you running for council this year in Edison?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
I screened for it with the EDO and did not get the nomination.
Okay. And you circulated council petitions this year?
Yes, sir. I circulated.
Okay. And those petitions, there should be an exhibit book in front of you.
Yes.
If you turn to exhibit 14, okay. Take a look at those and please confirm for the court that those are petitions that you circulated for your candidacy.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you have 2 running mates, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you circulate petitions for your running mates as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the top of, sorry, give me one, getting to your petitions. When you circulated petitions, did you inform voters as to who the candidates were that they were signing for?
Oh, yes. Definitely. I made it specifically that I have a good slate, very diverse, Chinese American, Indian American, and Caucasian American, which is Edison known for a very diverse community. And I was very boastful about it.
Okay, that was a part of your platform?
Yes, sir.
Did you go around getting petitions with your running mates?
Not everywhere, no.
Okay, so you went by yourself
Yes.
to get petitions for all 3 candidates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I want to make sure that what I'm looking at matches what you're looking at in that exhibit. If you look at the bottom right corner of the first page of that exhibit,
Yes.
do you see a number?
Yeah, 28.
Yes, okay, so we're looking at the same thing. So on the first page of that, there is at the top, there's handwritten names and party and office. Do you see that?
Yes, that's my handwriting.
Okay. So when you wrote that in, was it written in before you circulated it or after you circulated it?
No, before for sure. I am little, my last name is, I have had many instances of many bills and all. They spell my last name very wrong. They write it M-E-T-H-A. So Mehta, people call me also like very funny, which is okay. So I make sure that they are spelled well. So I wrote all of this and all the petitions that I was kind of circulating myself and before I would give it to people.
Okay. When other individuals circulated petitions, were the portions of that sheet filled out in advance?
Yeah.
Did you fill them out personally, or do you know how they were filled out?
Yes, I filled it up as soon as I got them printed, and then I kept it in my office. And as in when we would have volunteers come around and take the petitions, I would hand it over to them. But as I knew that people might spell my name wrong, or for that matter, my running mate's name wrong, I would make sure. And sometimes I didn't want the application to be rejected because of my wrong spelling, so I made sure that I write all of them beforehand and keep it in my office.
Okay. Now, sir, if you look at you have page 28 that we looked at, and then page 29, same thing, that's your handwriting at the top?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you handwrite that each time, or was it photocopied?
No, I wrote it each time.
Okay. And when you get to page 30, the third page in the packet, it is then it's a slightly different version.
Yes.
There has the I guess the introductory language at the top. In this instance, the three candidates' names are blank, the address information is blank. Why is that page blank, or why is it in the middle of your packet, as opposed to just continuing with another additional signature sheet?
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Maybe when I took photocopies when I was submitting. But this should have been my first page. Excitedly, when I was taking signatures, I guess this should have been my first page.
Okay. And then the next page on there, 31, 31, that contains additional signatures, and then it has your name as a circulator at the bottom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this page doesn't have any,
Names.
I guess, place for
The three
candidates named at the top. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you circulated this page yourself?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, and the candidates that are the people who signed pages 31 and 30, you told them that it was for all three candidates, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I went ahead and got the affidavits for these also.
Okay. Sir, did you ever circulate petitions for Anjana Patel for mayor?
Not myself, but my friend, he had come to my place and they said they wanted some signatures for Anjana Patel. So I took them around one late night, late evening I would say, to some of my neighbors to get signatures.
Okay. For Anjana Patel for mayor, correct?
Anjana Patel for mayor, yes.
Okay. Now, if you look at, hold on, let me find it to it. Hold on, I'm looking for it. I'll come back to it, so I'm not wasting time. You circulated, did you circulate petitions for Love Patel for mayor?
No, no.
Okay. When you were running for council, did you indicate to voters that you were supportive or running with Anjana Patel for mayor?
Oh, yes, because they were asking me about the other team, and as you know, our mayor and his team. So I said, no, I'm not running with them, because they assumed that I was running with them. I worked with mayor. I'm in the Cultural Arts Commission in Edison. Last year I was in the advisory board of Mayor Jaysh for the budget and planning. He has appointed me for 1 year. So, and I worked with very closely for that Diwali festival that he does, because I have done such Diwali festivals commercially for past 15 years in New Jersey, Edison Expo Hall and Garden State Exhibit Center, Somerset, and everywhere. So when our mayor was doing it for the first time, he called me and he added me to that Cultural Arts Commission. And then I helped him. In the first year, I would say proudly that all the vendors, all the dance team that was there, I had facilitated that, and I would say 80% of vendors were my vendors who had come to my events in the past. And so mayor gave me a proclamation on stage on the first year of Diwali and thanked me that this Diwali festival was possible with the great help of Mr. Jaysh Mehta. So people thought, and people still think, and I still think too, that I'm very friendly with the mayor. I have his blessings. And though I did not get column B support when I was standing for the county committee election in 2023, the flyers that I circulated around was with the proclamation of mayor's picture with me in those flyers, and I had taken due permission from the mayor Jaysh, and he was okay with it, that I had got an award from him, so it was a matter of pride. Though I did not get column B, which was the line then, I stood up in column E and fought, I would say fight is not right, but contested on my own, knocked the doors, I'm a community person, so I did that. And so that's
Now,
what,
sir, I'm gonna ask you to take a look at exhibit, I believe it's 15 in the book that's in front of you.
yes.
Raj, these are the exhibits that you attached to your first, the complaint, correct?
Yes.
To the petition challenge.
I'm sorry, what was that,
I
Raj?
think it was to the petition challenge, but yes, these are
Yeah, okay.
the things that were submitted previously.
Yeah, all right, perfect, so I'll make sure we're looking at the same thing. The first page, can you just read for my benefit as well, who the certification is from?
Chaitanya Vatambad.
And you see in that certification that she is claiming that she was approached by you to support you, and that she's alleging that you had, her name appeared in Anjana Patel's certification. Do you see that, sir?
Yeah, so it's a he, Chaitanya is a he, my
Okay.
good friend. I called him up on the phone, it was late night, I was remember 8:39, I said, hey Chaitan, I need your help and support. He already knew because I had collected signatures that I'm standing for the council. So I said, I have my friend Anjana Patel on the phone and I need a signature, so can I come right now? And I wanted his and his wife's signature both. He said, just come over. He said, my wife is sleeping. He just signed for me then and there. So it was like a 30-second in and out. But I had spoken to him on the phone before that, I remember. And that's why I wouldn't go to knock his door without calling him.
Okay.
Called him
And
on
you, and they were aware of what they were signing, is that correct? He was aware of what he was signing,
the phone. Yes,
correct?
I told that on the phone to him. And then when I met him, of course, we started talking about we are neighbors and stuff like that and all. He wished me luck and all. And he just signed it and I told him, can I get your wife's signature also? And he said, no, she's sleeping. And I said, okay, thank you so much.
Okay. And when you circulated that, were you with somebody named Pomad Attarde?
Yes.
Okay. And you went together to get that signature?
Yes. He had come to my place, and because, as he said, my wife was sleeping, I told him, just stay there, I'll just go quickly. And we stood at the door. We didn't even go to his dining table room, or he just stood, we opened the door and signed it and came to me. It was like
Okay.
30 seconds out.
Okay, and the next certification on that page is which one, sir?
Sudhi Tolia.
Okay. And the one after that is, stood here, Tolia? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's, yeah, Sudhir Tolia, yes,
Okay. And both of those allegations are similar to the one we just talked about?
yes. And they live
where-
across each other's house.
Okay. And are the facts similar?
Yes.
To what you just testified to for the other voter?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay. Now, the next page is which voter, sir?
Dipali Purohit.
Okay. And that certification alleges that they were approached just by you to support you, and that they did not support your running mates, and that the signature page that they signed did not have names on it, and they didn't know who they were supporting. You see that, sir?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you have any recollection of your interaction with those voters?
Yes, so this is my very good friend, I would say my best friend, Shri Uday Purohit. If you see that page where I've left that name blank, he's the first name there, Shri Uday Purohit. And this is his wife, his son, and his mother. So if you see that page, when you ask me that why there were no 3 names in that page, that first name is the husband, which is the father, or I would say son. So in that page, yes, there are no 3 names, but on these pages that these people signed had the names. You know what I mean? If you can get back to
who
that
you're
page,
referring to?
the page where you said I don't have those 3 names, and I have the signature, I said that was the first page. That is the husband.
Okay.
So I don't have
And you're
the name
referring
there.
to? Yes, sir. And what you're referring to is when I asked you earlier about the difference in sheets in your
Yes,
petition
yes,
package.
yes.
That
That
their
first-
names appear on the one.
Correct. That name is the first one. So maybe that name he thought, because this, I think all this, what do you say, the affidavits have been taken later on after a week or 10 days time, as I understand. And as I said, he's my best friend. And if you see, that is the first name I signed. So I'm like, to say that when I went to his house, I said, I need your blessing. You're my best friend. Your mother is like my mother. So I took his signature as the first signature. And then his wife, son and mother signed on the other pages.
Okay. And the next voter, that's
That's his son.
okay.
And that the third
Okay,
one is
so-
the mother.
Okay, so those are all the same.
All the same, yes. They must have saw that first page where his Mr. Shri Uday Purohit had signed, had no names. So that's why they recollect that they didn't have the names here. But I took their signature on the additional page because on the first page I wanted the 10 different people rather. Maybe my thought that I would. And the family members should be on the second sheet, which already had the names.
So the next affidavit in that package is which one?
Mayuri Soni, that's also part of those 10. This page does not even have a place for the name. That is the name where I've signed and done the this thing, my signature and affidavit. If you go back to that page does not even have a name place for the names.
Right. Understood.
The-
Okay.
The second page
All right,
of
sir.
that additional page, if you remember, if you see that.
Yep. Okay, sir. And for all those voters that we just talked about, you informed them at the time that it was for all 3 candidates, correct?
As I said, I was very boastful about it.
Okay. Sir, the next affidavit in that packet.
So that is the first name I have, Sri Uday Purohit. That's the father or the husband or the son we would call. Who's
Okay.
in this sheet I don't have the 3 names, yes.
Okay, understood. Sir, if you could keep flipping through the exhibit, the next
So
affidavit for
So
exhibit, which one is that?
Neela Tolia should be with the Sudhir Tolia, the husband which we said they live opposite each other. I don't know why the
Yeah.
husband and wife have been kept separately. Neela Tolia is Sudhir
Okay.
Tolia. When I went, the husband and wife were together to sign. At 9
Understood.
Churchill Road, so I don't know why it is kept a separate one.
Okay, and which is the next one, sir?
Murali Kuluru
Okay, hold on, I gotta find that online.
and Nilima Kuluru, the husband and wife.
Okay. And, Raj, what I'm trying to get, I wanna make sure I'm looking at the same thing. I'm trying to get, I think we've gone through the first group of those petitions. I'm Is does that exhibit also include the challenges from Crawford, VAD?
Yeah, page 9 of 10 and 10 of 10. It's Murali Kuduru,
Okay.
and this was brought about, I think, there last week, April 6th, as I see the date.
Matt, to answer what I think you're asking me, the answer is no.
They're not in that
Correct.
exhibit packet?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the two specific ones, and, you know, without getting too far into it, they are
Yeah.
not in that part of the packet.
Gotcha. Are they in a different exhibit or no? That you prepared? We have them, I think.
I can find them, Matt. Which one are you referring to?
Yeah, I'm looking for the two certifications from, it was from the two plaintiffs, Praffel, I might be mispronouncing the name, VAD, V-A-I-D, and
So
Kieran, VAD.
this was sent last week, this was sent on this Monday.
No, that's a different one. I'll ask you the question, and then if we can find the exhibit, it's fine. I know the court has it. Sir, there was an allegation that somebody was approached by an individual named Rupu Gagliari.
Yes.
Okay, do you know who that person is?
Yes, my neighbor, and I call her as my older sister.
Okay. The allegation by Mr. and Mrs. Viad is that they were approached by that person to sign your petition, and that when they were approached, that they were only told that it was for you and not told for your running mates.
So as I remember,
And the issue is that's being raised by plaintiffs is not only that the person these voters claim they weren't properly informed, but also that that particular circulator does not appear as a circulator in your packet. So what I'm asking you generally is, can you explain to the court, if you know, again, who that person is and the facts surrounding those two
she's my
certifications?
yeah, she's my neighbor for over 20 years, and they buy tickets for my events and shows and all. I know them very well. Haven't been to. So she took me around to get some signatures, and while I was there on the phone talking to other people and getting things done, as I said, this was also like an in and out. She got sort of a signature from them. But I would like to mention one thing, that after 2 days, Mrs. Kiran Ved, one of the person who had signed, called up and said that she's not, exact word, maybe that she cannot sign my petition because her daughter is a judge appointed by Mayor Jaysh in Edison Court, Edison Township, so she cannot sign my petition. She told me this after 2 days of this, after she had signed. And she called us up, Mrs. Kiran Ved, and that she said that my signature will not, you should take it out, and I cannot sign this petition because my daughter is a judge with Edison Township appointed by the mayor. I recollect this conversation. And then I saw this, their objection in this different way.
Okay. Okay, sir, when this was circulated, you were with
Yes, I took her around in my car, yes.
Okay. And there was also a supplemental certifications that came in from the Kalaris.
Yes, that's,
This was on Monday.
yeah.
And you've seen those certifications, sir?
Yeah,
Okay. And that certification says that you approached them to support you, and that they later showed a petition that has their name, that was for Anjana Patel. Do you have any response or explanation to the court?
so all this happened in just one day, the March 17th night. If you see the timing also, he has mentioned, thanks to him, 8:26 p.m. So when I went there, of course they knew about my candidacy. So, people start talking about me, and they signed. And I remember having called him up also and told him that I'm getting signatures for Anjana Patel, who's running for mayor, and I am running for council. They started asking me my kids because we had similar age group, kids in the neighborhood and all. So generally, because we know each other for so many years, the conversation always lands up to something, than just this petition, and they very willfully, thankfully, nicely sign it for me, unless somebody approaches them and kind of tells them to do otherwise.
When you went to their, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that was all, the ones we've talked about for Anjana, that's where you went around the same night, is that correct?
Because till then, I made everybody known about it, that I'm running with the slate with Anjana Patel as my mayor. And because I was not in the other slate, so I had to be with somebody. So it was pretty much clear, and I explained them, and I spoke to them. I remember very clearly having spoken to, and now also when I'm canvassing, which I've like over hundreds of houses I've already gone to, they all ask, who are you running with, and who are your mates and stuff and all. And none of these people, I would say, would sign blindly or on a blank paper to me. They are very sane, smart, intelligent people, and if they would not. Why would anybody sign for me? I'm just nobody blindly. Nobody does this in today's world. So.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Mehta. So let's start where you ended, Mr. Mehta. You circulated petitions for Anjana Patel, correct?
Yes.
And how many signatures did you collect?
Not maybe less than 8 to 9. I don't even remember. As I said, I went with Mr. Pramod uttered he had come to my house that he wanted some signatures for Anjana Patel. So I took him around my neighborhood one evening only. I think he collected some signatures.
So it was the two of you together.
Yes.
And did you turn those signatures in anywhere?
As in?
Did you submit them anywhere? How did you get them to Anjana?
You gave it to Pramod?
Oh, you gave them to Pramod, okay. And with respect to your petitions, right, for your candidacy, where did you pick them up from?
Mr. A.J. Patel, he gave it to me.
Okay, and was that at your office?
Yeah, my office.
Your office is used as the headquarters for
Yes.
the campaign.
Oak Road, Edison, yeah, 1969. My dance studio at my office.
And that's used as the headquarters for the campaigns,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's-
Central location, yes.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, that's a central location, it's right on the street, so it's my head office.
And you use your office, and Mr. Patel works out of there for your candidacy, correct?
It doesn't work, it just comes there to help. I wouldn't say work because I don't get it, the question. The works means?
Sure. So he's volunteering for your campaign, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
There's other volunteers for your campaign, correct?
So many of them.
And there's other volunteers for Mr. Patel's campaign?
Which Mr. Patel?
For Love Patel's campaign?
Yes.
And there's volunteers for Anjana Patel's former campaign?
Not anymore.
For her former campaign?
Yes,
And
definitely.
all of those volunteers were working out of your office, correct?
So, there's no working at my office, like nobody, they will come, meet me and they go. It's not like, and it's a big dance studio by the way. It can accommodate 20, 30 people, but it doesn't happen like that everybody comes at the same time. People come 1, 2, meet me, take the sheets, go do their thing and come back. It's not that, I'm not trying to understand your question. It's to,
Okay, so I'm happy to ask a different one. So when you say people would come and take some sheets and stuff, can you explain to the court what it is you're talking about?
well, this, when they were getting these petitions, I gave it to all of them for my candidacy. They would come, meet me, talk to me, have a cup of tea, and try and understand why am I doing this, what am I doing this. I have to kind of convince my teammates first as to why I want to run as a councillor.
So you talk to these volunteers and others, you give them petitions, and then they would go out and collect signatures, correct?
Yes.
And were you the only one there for those meetings?
Most times.
Nobody else?
Nobody else, because people come at different times and sometimes, most of them.
Now, what about Mr. Patel?
No, he's not there all the time.
Not all the time. Was he there for these meetings with volunteers? Never.
Not, a few times, yes. There's no fixed time. It is not like he would come and go and people are there, hanging out, you know how things are.
Do you ever let others use your office when you're not there?
Objection, Judge. I don't know why we're relevancy to the issues before the court.
You can answer. Do you let others use your office when you're not there?
It's a dance studio. So my dance teachers have an access to it. Yeah, it's an open place. Parents stay there, sit there.
Right. So let me-
The kids are dancing.
Let me ask you a different question. With respect to these three campaigns, Love for Patel for Mayor, Anjana Patel for Mayor, and your candidacy, do you ever let other volunteers, Mr. Patel or others, use your office when you're not there?
Yeah, because while I'm campaigning right now, as I'm knocking doors, yeah, they come to the office at their own time. They have the key to the office.
Okay, perfect, thank you, that's what I was getting to. Okay, so were you ever there when circulators dropped off petitions for Love Patel's candidacy?
In and out, yes, because I was also campaigning for myself that time. So in and out, as I said, because I'm known for knocking doors, so that's what I do the best.
Okay. And so you said that you had copies of petition pages, right? Were those all handwritten, every single page, or were there photocopies?
No, all handed. I
So-
wrote them.
I'm sorry?
I wrote them.
So you wrote them for all of the candidates?
No, only for myself.
Okay, so for your
Means
petition.
as in the council candidates. And maybe few for others, I guess.
Judge, if I can just approach witness, I have what we've marked as Exhibit 18, which is his full petition packet.
That was in the, what were the exhibits?
It was.
Exhibit 18.
All right, Mr. Mehta, do you recognize that document?
Yes,
All right, what is that?
that's my application, my petition.
So is all of the handwriting on this first page your handwriting?
Yes. Let me check, except for maybe, yes, always mine. Except for page number 25 and 26. All others are mine.
Okay, so page,
25 and 26.
well, let's just start with the first couple of pages, okay? So look at the bottom right-hand corner where it says page 5, I'm sorry, not 5. Page 7. That's your handwriting at the top, sir?
Yes,
And also on page 8
yes,
and page 9
yes,
and page 10?
yes. So the first line is not mine, Democratic Office and Council. Because I said, I'm very thinking about the people who misspell my name, so I wrote their name, and other people will write this, but then the second line is I write myself, the names.
And you didn't fill that top part out before people picked up petitions, correct?
No, before, of course. I would keep it in my office, so while I'm not there, also if somebody wants to come and take the thing, they can take the petitions.
So let's just look at page 7, for example. It's your testimony that the top of this page was filled out and it was in your office so that anybody could pick it up when they wanted to. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that your handwriting next to party? Or is
No,
this-
no, that is not mine.
Whose handwriting is that?
I don't know, maybe the person filled this up. Second line, I would write my names there for sure.
So you left forms at your office with just the 3 names there
Yes.
and nothing else?
Nothing else, because I didn't know what to write then, as to whether it should be Township Council or just Council or Democratic or Democrat or, so I would leave that, but I would write the names, so guys, this is what it is.
And look at the next page, page 8.
Yes, same thing.
Same thing.
Yes.
So that's not your handwriting where it says Democratic and Council,
No.
but it is your handwriting with the names. That's your testimony.
Yes.
And it's your testimony that you filled all of those out before anybody took one of the pages out to get signed by voters.
Yes.
And how many pages did you fill out by hand?
50, 60, I don't remember, many.
So you left a stack of 50 or 60 pages at your office
Maybe 20,
with
30,
just the
I
names of
don't
the,
remember, yeah.
just the names of the 3 candidates filled out.
Yes.
And people would pick up a page or 2 and take them out to circulate?
Yes, and if you see that some of the people, if I'm there while I'm giving it to them, then I would write it to also on the top and give it to them. Some of the other pages, if you look at 18, 19, 20, I have written both things. So both are my handwriting. If I'm there, I write it. If I'm not there, then do you write it? The first part, but I made sure the handwriting names I write for sure because of the spelling mistakes.
For your candidacy, did people have to sign any type of form to sign out a petition page when they took it out, or just people just came and got whatever they needed?
No, they didn't sign. I was never told that I'm supposed to get signatures. I didn't take anyone's signature.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mensch showed you what's in the book as Exhibit 14, correct?
Yes.
And you signed the affidavit that's on page 404 at the very end of that exhibit, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And is it correct that you signed that on March 20th?
Yes.
And did you read this affidavit before you signed it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in your words, what did it mean? What were you attesting to?
That I have collected these signatures and I'm signing this page and I'm taking this oath that everything written here is true.
And you also testified about page 3, and you said that had been blank, correct?
Yes.
At the top? Now, how did you take these around to people? Did you go to their homes?
Yes, all of them.
So you went to all of the homes for everybody in Exhibit 14, correct?
Hundreds.
And did you just take one page at a time into the people's homes?
No, I had a folder.
You had a folder. And so how many pages were in the folder?
I wouldn't remember.
I'm sorry?
I wouldn't remember.
Well, what other types of pages would you have had in the folder?
No, these pages only. But I wouldn't remember how many, 4, 5, 6 at a time, 3 at a time. I don't remember exactly how many pages I had.
And were those pages just for your candidacy or for someone else's?
No, only mine.
So you had 4 or 5 or 6 pages of petition signatures.
Yeah, I was just collecting for myself.
And how many of those did you get completed? Did you fill all of the ones that you had in your folder?
No,
And what happened to the blank ones?
must have it somewhere or must have used the backside for some rough work or something.
Okay, so you threw them away or they're not part of what you submitted.
Yeah, but once the application was done, I thought I didn't need those pages.
So you testified you witnessed every single one of these signatures, right?
Yes.
But that's not true, is it?
What is not true?
That is not true. You did not witness every one of these signatures, did you?
What do you mean by I did witness means what do you?
Did you see every single one of the individuals in Exhibit 14 sign their name, and print their address on this petition form?
So that's what I'm telling you. If that's Exhibit 14, there is a page with that's Ms. Gaglani, who took some signatures for me, and I was there with her. That's what the question is.
So tell us about that. You were with Rupa Gaglani, correct? And where were you? You were outside of the Vaid's home?
Yes. No, with this outside of this happened to a store.
You just testified to the court that you went to every one of these people's homes.
No, so everyone means, I know you are an attorney, so you know this better than me. You are trying to, this particular person, we went to her store to get the signature.
Well, which one is it, Mr. Mehta? You
Eden.
testified just 2 minutes ago.
But
You
no,
just
I didn't know,
Sir,
I
let me
didn't know
finish
all
my
the
question.
names. I didn't know that all the names are there. I'm looking at it now. If you tell me one by one, I'll tell you.
You understand you're here before a court, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand you've been sworn to tell the truth, correct?
Yeah, I am, but sir, you are trying to put a pressure to me. You ask me one by one. You're asking me random questions. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trained to do this. So please ask me one by one, and sir, I'll tell you. Please
Sir,
don't make it
I'm
confusing.
trying to understand why so many people, let's talk about your friends. You said that you have very, very good friends, correct? That signed this petition, correct? Your best friends, you call them, right?
I call them my best friends.
Are they honest people, your best friends?
I guess so.
They are?
I thought so.
Well,
I think so. Everybody's honest, sir.
Why would all of these people that are your friends who are honest say that they were confused or that you made misrepresentations to them when collecting these petition signatures? They have said that under oath. Why would they say that?
Because somebody, I guess, forced them to do that?
So that's your answer. It's not that you had a mistake, it's that somebody must have forced them to sign a paper?
What kind of mistake is I don't understand? They had signed it, why would they sign anything blank for me is my thing. They would not, they are not my such good friends or my family members. I call them best friend, but they would not say anything blank for me. I don't think anybody would do that for me.
But that's not true.
But my own family would do that.
You yourself on page 3 have admitted people signed this page even though it was blank, correct?
Which one?
Page 3 of 4 in Plaintiff's Exhibit 14. Isn't that blank?
This page is not blank. So page 3 and 4, yes.
Right? That is blank, correct?
Yes.
So people signed that page, correct?
If they signed this page, yes, for sure. No,
Okay.
because
So people that support you signed a blank page, correct?
not everybody.
I'm asking about these people on page 3 of 4.
Yeah, they signed for that.
They signed it because they support you, isn't that right?
Yeah, they support me.
Right, but they don't support the other people, do they?
No, they do, because I've been talking to them. That they support my
I'll withdraw
team.
that question.
Yeah, it's not clear.
Yeah, I'll withdraw the question. Why would people that are your friends say that they were willing to sign for you, but not for other people?
I fail to understand that myself, and I haven't gone back to ask them why did they do this to me.
You think they're doing it to you?
I don't know.
And you said that you were outside everybody's home, but now you're saying that you were somewhere else with Rupa Gaglani, correct?
Only one place, one person.
Why didn't you just have Rupa Gaglani sign a circulator affidavit?
For this particular thing, maybe I thought I was collecting it myself, so she would have signed it if I'd asked her to. But-
You've run for office before, correct?
Yeah,
You understand what the petition process is, correct?
definitely.
You collect signatures, correct? And if you collect the signatures, you have to sign that affidavit, correct?
Objection. Your Honor, Your Honor, I don't want to make an objection in front of the witness with regard to arguing points of law with Mr. Parikh, but I disagree with the legal underpinning of his question, and I'm happy to have a longer discourse outside the presence of the witness, but I put that objection on the record.
Do we need this answer?
No, I'll withdraw the question. On the, if you go back to your full petition packet I gave to you, which I believe is Exhibit 14. Do you have that in front of you, sir? It's not in the binder, it's the separate one. I'm sorry, 18, I said 14, I meant 18.
Exhibit 18, page 14 of 35?
No, just Exhibit 18, that packet. Do you have that packet?
No, I don't. This one?
Yes,
That
that
should
should
be
be correct.
Okay.
Thank you. So, did you, on the bottom right-hand corner, do you see the numbers that are there?
Mm-hmm.
Did you write those there?
Yes.
You did. Did you write them on other people's petitions as well? Let me show you this.
Remember, there may be yes for Anjana Patel, yes, I think I wrote. For Anjana Patel's petition, I must have written. Because
If
those
I
are
may
going
approach.
together.
Come on up. What do you have? What exhibit?
I have Exhibit 17, which is the Love Patel for mayor,
That's not mine.
and Exhibit 19, which is Anjana Patel.
Yeah. Anjana Patel, I wrote, Love Patel, I didn't write.
Why don't you take a look at the documents
Yeah,
first?
yeah, definitely.
And why don't you tell us which one you're looking at? You can just look at the first page.
Anjana Patel,
Okay, and on the bottom right-hand corner,
I wrote the numbers,
okay.
1 to
I
38.
just want to, is that 17 or 19?
Yes, you're right.
19.
That's 19?
Anjana Patel, you said was 19.
Yes, 19.
Thank you.
Love Patel, I didn't write.
All right, and what number is that one, sir?
17, you said?
On the bottom right-hand corner, what does it say? Plaintiff's Exhibit?
19. Page 1 of 38, which is Anjana Patel. I wrote those numbers.
Your Honor, may I approach just to make sure it was clear in the record? Okay, so, Mr. Mehta, in front of you is what's Plaintiff's Exhibit 17. which is Love Patel's mayoral petition. Do you see this number at the bottom right-hand corner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and if I show you page 16, for example, do you see that number? All right, is that your handwriting? Okay. And now I'm going to show you what is Plaintiff's Exhibit 19, which is Anjana Patel's petition. Do you see that? All right, and you see the number 1 on the bottom right-hand corner, and you see on page 15 of 38, the number 14 on the bottom right-hand corner. Is that your handwriting?
Yes, sir.
And then I'm going to show you what is marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 18, which is your petition, correct? And if we turn to page 9 of 35, there's a number at the bottom. That's your handwriting? Right, and that's for every page in the 2 petitions that you handwrite, correct? Thank you. With respect to your petition, I'll put that taken back from you, and if I can approach you again, Your Honor. With respect to your petition, which is Exhibit 18, when did you fill out the first few pages with your affidavit, your certifications, to run as a candidate?
March, the one day of that week, Monday, Tuesday, I started. 16, 7:15, I think. The first day I started collecting.
And who else was there with you when you filled out? Why don't we look at page 4 of that exhibit? Sorry, page 5, I think, is your name.
Page 5 is a candidate oath.
Correct. Is this your handwriting, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, and when did you fill this out?
On 20th March,
All right, and who else was with you when you filled this out?
Mr. Agia and me.
Anybody else?
No, I don't recollect.
And where was this completed?
In my office.
And were you there when Ms. Chen or Mr. DeAmarin completed theirs?
Is that a different page?
That would be page 4 and 6.
Yeah, I think so, I was there.
You believe you were there?
Yeah, because we have been meeting so many times, so after this, so I don't remember what was the exact time that we were. But because now this was the final time to put our application, we have been kind of meeting every now and then, all 3 candidates, so.
Now, you mentioned earlier that people have contacted you after this petition challenge was filed, or after you collected signatures to, say that they're only supporting you, or that, they feel as though their signatures were taken, something else happened, right? You said folks have been in contact with you?
No, nobody
No?
after that.
Yeah.
I thought you said that Kieran Vade called you, correct?
Yes, she called Rupa.
She called Rupa.
Yes.
Earlier you said she called you on the
No,
phone.
sir, no, I never said that.
You never said that?
No,
You're
I
going to
said
change your
she called-
testimony now.
No, sir. She called her Rupa and she told her that she cannot sign because her daughter is a judge. And Rupa told me this.
Have people text messaged you or sent you WhatsApp messages advising you that they only signed your petition?
No, nobody.
Do you have, you've not communicated with anybody, have you communicated with anyone via WhatsApp regarding your council candidacy?
For signatures or by advertising?
About the fact that people believe that you were running on your own, not with other candidates?
No, never. All
No?
my flyers, first flyer that I put it out, just for the social media, it only had my picture. But then this was before the candidacy was filed or done. And then I had after that all this happened with all my 3 candidacy.
You had a text message exchange with Rudy Purohit, right?
Yes.
And you deleted that, right, from a WhatsApp group?
Yes.
Right? And what was the message that you deleted?
What was the message I deleted? Don't remember.
He was questioning why there was a representation made to him that you were running on your own, correct?
No, that's
No?
not true.
But why did you delete the message? You deleted the message, correct?
Why did I delete a message? Because I don't remember. Then after that, I wrote him a message also. Maybe I asked him as to why did he do this to me. and then he didn't answer, so I did. And when I called him on the phone, he said he had a pressure from the top.
Did you called him that time, or was that somebody else
No,
also?
I called him.
Uh-huh. And you said to him, right, your response was, you always knew it was a slate. Wasn't it something to that effect?
You always knew me.
You always knew there was a slate, or we were running as a slate.
I discussed with him at length, sir, at his house, in the back office that he has. We discussed it at length, that we have 3 people running and who I'm running with and whatnot.
Yet he, along with your other friends, right, have all said that that's just not true. That they were only under the impression that you were running on your own, correct?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
It's not
Your
possible.
Honor, yes.
Sustained, it's too broad.
Withdraw.
And Your Honor, I'd like to just point out that I don't know, this particular issue, I'm not arguing is not necessarily relevant exactly, but whatever this issue is that's being raised right now with this particular voter, this discourse is the first time that
Yeah,
I've been made aware of
it's
this
not a
issue.
petition. I'll
Or
say,
it's not a petition.
I understand your argument. It's not in the filings. It's relatively new to all of us. So.
Right, and your Honor's witness has admitted he deleted the message, which is part of the problem, so, which is fine. So I'll stop here, Your Honor. I have
Okay.
no further questions.
Any redirect?
No good.
And I don't want to say, I know there's other counsel on, but I was limiting the question to the 2 attorneys involved, but with respect to this witness, does anybody have any other questions? Hearing none. Thank you, sir. You may step down. Thank you.
Judge, I want to move all those exhibits that we showed to the witnesses and evidence.
So you don't have any objection to the exhibits being moved?
No, Judge, the only thing I want to make sure is included, I know Your Honor has it, it's part of the record, but we did submit certifications from other voters who attested that either that they were told that there were all 3 names there, that they saw it. I didn't ask the witnesses about it today because it's already in the record, but I do want to make sure that Your Honor has note of those and that they're also, just remind the court of it.
Right. So all the exhibits, if you will, the court will accept, even though they're not numbered now chronologically, the court will accept those. And if you want to make reference to those in a closing argument, or the court wishes to utilize it, we'll just note that, what it is for the record.
Yeah,
What-
if I could just so I have no problem with all of those things being in the record, Your Honor. I would presume that the court will give it appropriate weight since they're not subject to cross-examination.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'd like to do is maybe take a short break, maybe let you get your thoughts together, and if you don't mind presenting any closing argument, if we could do that now, today. Anybody have any objection to that?
No objection.
Judge, I want to move this as quickly as possible, so I'm ready to go whenever court and counsel are.
Okay, so why don't we take, maybe come back at 2 o'clock?
Sure. Whatever.
We're gonna take a short break, and then gather your thoughts. We'll do a quick closing, and then try to get a decision out. Okay? So good. All right. Thank you, guys. You off the record.
Your Honor.
All right, we return to the record. I apologize for the delay. It's just about 2:40. Ms. Breck had indicated, I think we were kind of in and out of our connection there about the 3 o'clock ballot draw. I'm inclined to let it go through, and if they have to redo it, they have to redo it. It's, because I don't know if we're going to get all this in by 3 o'clock. The alternative is statutorily, we put it off and delay it another day. So does anyone have any comment on that before we hear closing arguments?
Judge, my only comment on it, I guess, is, if they, to Your Honor's point, if they do it and they have to theoretically do it again, it's not really the end of the world. We're kind of close, I think, to nearing the end, other than the time it will take counsel and I to put in our closing arguments. I guess then it's just a matter of how much time Your Honor needs to issue a decision. So I would prefer that it go forward.
At this point, I would imagine I'm going to try to get something out by the end of the day. If not, it'll be first thing in the morning. But I plan on having that wrapped up relatively soon. So,
Yeah, look, I defer to the court, I know, and I appreciate Your Honor's time in moving this within a week. You know, it's the same concerns I raised last week, which is that you've got other candidates
I know,
who've
and
noticed
some of
and
them are here, and if they
Right.
get placed, and they have to get
Right,
re-signed.
and then
It's
the
not the
objection that,
best.
oh, I had
but-
number one and now I've got number three, you know, whatever it may be, so.
The county does it at its own, yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
and I appreciate the argument. So,
Thank you.
okay, let's go back now. With respect to closing arguments, Counsel, I'm going to start with you. As to the closing arguments, what would you like to tell me?
Thank you, Your Honor. So, thank you again for the court's time on this expedited matter. I think, as I said to the court last week, you know, this process is important to make sure that voters have confidence in what is occurring in elections in this state. And to be a candidate for office is a privilege, it is not a right. There's a variety of case law that supports that proposition. What we have here in terms of the verified complaint before the court are two counts. One count which essentially alleges fraud or misrepresentation acts on behalf of the circulators, on behalf of the candidates, that should seek to invalidate all of their petitions. And in count two, we have a count that essentially says that these candidates, all of them that are named as defendants, have failed to comply with the requirements of NJSA 19:23, which governs the petitioning process. And that entire chapter in Title 19 covers the primary petition process in terms of what petitions should say, how they should be distributed, how they have to be affirmed, how they have to be submitted, and governs this entire proceeding that we're here under. With respect to count one, we have what I would call a partially developed record. As Your Honor knows, establishing fraud or misrepresentation is one of the higher things, and I'm sure that my learned adversary will talk to the court about why there should be a higher burden of proof with respect to those types of allegations. And we have a partial record in part because of the lack of a proceeding below, but also because there's been limited time and we had witnesses today. And I think Your Honor has seen the evidence of questionable conduct. You have voters who are great friends of some of the witnesses who are acting contrary to what those witnesses claimed occurred, to what the candidates claimed occurred. And those disinterested voters who just want to go about their lives and perhaps participate in a democratic process have actually signed papers that have been submitted to the court, and in my mind would be willing to come testify to the court as to what was said to them and how that contradicts what Your Honor heard from the witnesses. I think the witnesses had varying degrees of credibility depending on what they were talking about, and I know that Your Honor has significant experience and can weigh each of the pieces of evidence that are before the court with respect to those allegations of fraud and misrepresentation. I do believe that had we had more opportunity to gather more evidence, more information, have more witnesses, that there would be a better factual record for the court to be able to make a decision on count one. But at the end of the day, I don't know that the court even needs to get to count one, because what we have learned today from the witnesses directly from their own admissions is that they did not comply with the process that they were required to comply with under 19:23. And that is what count two alleges. Now, in that situation, the case law tells us that it's just a preponderance of the credible evidence standard, and that would be Atkinson versus Parsekian, 37 NJ 143 at Penn site 149. That's a 1962 case. That case has been cited in election matters, including the OAL matter, docket number STE 4698-15, which is Roundtree, R-O-U-N-D, Tree, versus Republican candidates of LD 1, 2, 8, and 9. That is a April 8, 2015 decision from Administrative Law Judge Kerens, who adopts that preponderance of the evidence standard in terms of nominating petition objections. And under that standard, Your Honor, each of the defendant petitions at issue here today must be thrown out almost in their entirety. And I say almost in their entirety because there are small pieces of the petitions that may have complied with the mandates of 19:23, but the vast majority of the petitions do not. And I can explain that pretty succinctly. And I can also say to the court that I don't believe there is any case like this that exists. Because I don't think candidates in general ever actually fail to circulate petitions in the right way. And that is what these candidates did here and what their circulators did in their entirety. The question is, what is required to be a petition and what is a petition? That is ultimately the question. And I think the question is so self-evident, which is why there are not cases on this. A petition packet, and if Your Honor, if I can point Your Honor to, I'll first give you one citation, but I won't go through it because I think it's ancillary support, but not directly relevant. NJSA 19:13-4. And that is for the general elections, the direct nominations by petition statute, and that statute talks about what the contents of a petition must be. And as you go through chapter 13, which relates to sort of general elections and nominations, it has similar language to chapter 23, which talks about primary elections like the one we have here. So if I start with 19:23-5, that specifically is party candidates for primary nominated by members of the same party by petition. And so that statute section is kind of the just general idea that candidates who want to be voted for at a primary election have to be nominated exclusively by members of their same political party by petition in the manner herein provided. And when we then go further, and the most relevant section here is NJSA 19:23-7. And what that section says, and I'm going to spend just 2 minutes to walk the court through what I think are the relevant parts, that section tells anyone in this state what a petition is supposed to be. And it starts with saying each such petition, so it refers back, I think with that language of such, to 19:23-6, which talks about petitions nominating candidates to be voted for by the voters of a political party. And when we talk about petitions, we're talking about two different things. One is what ultimately gets submitted as a package to an elections official, right? That would be a full package of materials. But then separate and apart from that, it's what is it that a circulator presents to a voter. And so when we talk about a petition packet as the whole submission, there are requirements of things that need to be included only one time in those, such as an oath of allegiance, certification, etc. And that also is in the statutes in chapter 23. But when we talk about the petition packet, or the petition rather, not the packet, but the petition that has to be circulated to a voter, 19:23-7 tells us what it must include. And it says, each such petition, so each petition being presented to a voter, shall set forth that the signers thereof are qualified voters of the state, congressional district, etc., as the case may be, in which they reside and for which they desire to nominate candidates. So that would be the first requirement. The second, that they are members of a political party naming the same and that they intend to affiliate with the political party at the ensuing election. So that would be the second requirement. The third requirement, that they endorse the person or persons named in their petition as candidate or candidates for nomination for the office or offices therein named, and that would be the third. And then fourth, that they request that the name of the person or persons therein mentioned be printed upon the official primary ballots of their political party as the candidate or candidates for such nomination. So that is the first sentence of that statute, but it provides each of these specific delineated requirements of what that petition presented to a voter must include. Then it also says the petition shall further state the residence and post office address of each person so endorsed, that would be the candidate, and shall certify that the person or persons so endorsed are legally qualified under the laws of the state to be nominated, and is or are a member or members of the political party named in the petition. Then it also talks about requirement of an email address, and as the statute continues, it talks about accompanying the petition there has to be a certificate stating that they're qualified for the office, etc. So when we look at that statute, and then we look at what was put into evidence as Plaintiff's Exhibit 20, which is the printout from the county clerk's website as one of the chief election officials in the county. The county clerk says, in instruction for nominating petitions, and this is on page 405 of Plaintiff's Exhibit 20, the candidate's name, address, and office he or she is seeking must be on the petition before circulation. All in caps. Do not circulate blank petitions. Then it goes on to talk about requirements of the circulators, etc. So what this means, and as I said, there is no case law directly on point that I've been able to find. There are instructive cases, which I'll talk about in a moment. What this means is that someone seeking office can have volunteers go out with a petition that has a page that talks about who they are, what they're running for, the specific language from 23-7, and then can get signatures on those petition pages. The other instructive point is NJSA 19:23-10. And what that section talks about is that not, and I'll quote directly, not all of the names of petitioners need be signed to a single petition, but any number of petitions of the same purport may be filed. But in the aggregate, the signatures thereto endorsing any one person shall be the number required by this title. So again, support for the idea that there is a petition that goes in front of a voter, it has to be complete, and that you can aggregate all of those petitions together to submit a petition packet to an elections official. And that is the law. That is the law in this state. When you present a voter with a petition to sign, you have to give them the form. And when we look at the petitions at issue here, such as Plaintiff's Exhibit 18, which is the council candidate's petition that Mr. Mehta attested to, this is a complete packet, 35 pages of what was submitted to the Edison municipal clerk. Page 1 has a cover page that says nomination by petition for primary election, candidate's request for the official primary slogan, etc. Page 2 has at the very top, it's addressed. It says to municipal clerk, right? It's got some check marks, municipality of Edison, and then it says, and this is the most critical language, we the undersigned, meaning the people who are endorsing the candidates, we the undersigned hereby certify that we are qualified voters, mirroring the language in 23-7, that we reside in the above county, mirroring the language of 23-7, that we are members of the Democratic Party, again, mirroring the language in 23-7, and intend to affiliate with the political party at the ensuing election. It goes on to say, we endorse the candidate's nomination to the office of Township Council, and we request that you print upon the official primary ballot for this party the names of the candidates for such nomination. We further certify that the said person so endorsed is legally qualified under the laws of the state to be nominated for said office. And then it cites NJSA 19:23-7. And that, Your Honor, is what every single voter is attesting to when they endorse a candidate for office. But they have to know that. And that's why I said when I started, but the question is here is, what is a petition? Well, I would submit to the court that this page, this language, is required to be shown to every voter before they sign, so that they know exactly what they are attesting to, we the undersigned, and that the statute requires that. And we have the exact opposite here. And that's why I say that we don't even necessarily need to get to the allegations of fraud and misrepresentation, because we have clear, precise, unequivocal testimony from every single witness here before the court today. Mr. Shei testified. He's run for office for over a dozen years. He has looked at the county clerk's website, has circulated petitions over and over again, knows the process, is very familiar with it. But he also said, yeah, no, I picked up just this one page, and said the names were written at the top. So when we look at any one of the any one of the petition pages that Mr. Shei circulated. He's not incorrect, right? Whether the names were there before or after, it's actually irrelevant for the fact that they didn't comply with 1923-7. He admitted, yeah, I would take one page, I took 2 or 3 pages, this is what I took. And I said earlier, I think the reason why it's some is because for Mr. Shei in particular, he had one petition, and it's in the council candidate's petition, where he was the circulator for the first 2 pages. And that's Plaintiff's Exhibit 18, page 2 of 35 and 3 of 35. And he admitted, he said to the court, yeah, I picked up these first 2 pages, all of this stuff was written in, meaning the candidate names, and I went and collected these signatures. I left it at home, and then, yeah, I went and got additional pages, and I circulated those pages as well. But what all of those other pages that he circulated did not have is the required language of NJSA 23-7 at all. So whether it says at the top, Party, Democratic, Office, Council, the names of the candidates, whether it says that or it doesn't say that, the required language for a petition under 1923-7 was not on any of those pages. And the same thing exists for the petitions that Mr. Mehta circulated, and the same deficiency exists in the petitions that Lav Patel circulated. So whether you look at the Lav Patel for mayor petitions, whether you look at the Mehta group petitions, even if we went to the Anjana Patel petitions, they all suffer from that same deficiency. And each of the candidates admitted to. And that extrapolates out to virtually every other circulator in these packets. You heard testimony from these witnesses. Some called it an office, some called it headquarters. They would go there. There were stacks of these extra additional sheets sitting around. People would pick up those sheets. They would go out and get signatures. They would bring them back. They signed their circulator affidavit when they brought them back. But you heard very clearly from Mr. Patel and Mr. Mehta, I believe, they didn't remove any pages from what was submitted. They didn't discard anything other than perhaps a blank page here or there. They gave in the exact packets as they existed, as we see in Plaintiff's Exhibits 1 and 2 and 3, and also in Plaintiff's Exhibits 8, 9, and 10, and Plaintiff's Exhibit 14. There was no cover sheet. There was no sheet that told the voter exactly what it is that they were attesting to when they signed this page, as required by the statute. And so for that reason alone, and looking through the petitions at each of the circulators, there are not sufficient signatures here.
Have you seen any circulators set up that way? Have you seen any petitions set up
Yes,
that way?
absolutely. It happens all the time. So if you go and look at what, the reason I ask questions about photocopies is what most candidates do is they will set up a packet where they'll have the block from 23-7 set up with the candidate names there. They'll photocopy that with some additional pages on the back, and then sometimes the circulator affirmation, sometimes not. And then they give those out to people. Sometimes people sign them out, they just hand them out, and people walk around with clipboards. Everything is filled out on the front by the campaign so that there can be no discrepancies. And in that case, if they were stapled together and they had that sheet and they had nothing written at the top, I think Mr. Mensch's argument would win. Because the candidate, the individuals were able to see exactly what they were signing, right? And there are some cases that talk about this, Your Honor. There is, you know, they've all gone different ways, and there's a lot of OAL cases, but they talk about, in the Cunningham case, for example, the court, it's Manzo versus Cunningham, it was a 2006 OAL decision. There was a challenge because the respondent, Sandra Cunningham, used the wrong form. She used that form that said general election instead of primary election. That was the basis of the challenge. Under the totality of the circumstances, the court found that it was okay, and they let it go. In a different case from 2022, Hughes, and Mr. Mensch will be familiar with this, Hughes versus Township of Howell, unpublished appellate division decision, 2022 Westlaw 4282317. Again, very different circumstance where 3 candidates on a joint petition circulated things at a meeting, and one petition had only candidate A's name, the next one had candidate B's name, the next one had candidate C's name, and there was a challenge saying, the candidates don't have enough because you can't then later on put those 3 together. The appellate division disagreed with that under the specific factual circumstances, but it said, even the statutory provision referencing Chapter 23 and NJSA 23-10 specifically, the statutory provision cannot be read to mean that the submission of a petition bearing an adequate number of signatures for candidate A without more would suffice to nominate candidate B who did not obtain the requisite signatures. Now, I'm sure you're understanding why is that relevant here. It's relevant because it is all about this petition process. It's about what's presented to the voter and what does the voter sign. And so if you look at state assembly, gubernatorial elections, even other municipal elections, the whole packet is filled out, sometimes it's empty, the circulator signs the back, and they'll submit a box of packets or the full submission will include, the cover page, the second page, some signature pages, and then an affirmation, and that would be book 1. And then again, cover page, the page with the candidate information, signature pages, and affirmation, that would be book 2. And when you read any of the OAL decisions, for example, they talk about, we looked at book 1, signature 35, we looked at book 3, book 4, because those petition books are what are circulated, and the challenges come about that way. We don't have that here. We have essentially what is one book with a whole bunch of stuff that was smattered together with admissions from the defendants and the defendant candidates, as well as one of the circulators, that they just showed somebody a page, and that was what they signed, and then they
So
voted.
didn't the county clerk accept the filing?
This filing went to the municipal clerk, Your Honor.
Municipal clerk.
Right, and the municipal clerk accepted it. There's law about how petitions must be valid on their face.
Did you ever question it?
Did we ever question it? We sent, the petition process here, Your Honor, turned around very quickly. So did we ever question that
The
issue?
answer is no.
I don't believe it was in our letter to the clerk. I think we would have raised that issue, Your Honor, had we had the opportunity with the clerk, but all we got was a letter back in terms of that proceeding. And so again, I talk about the record development below. So to me, we don't have to, deal with the issue of the limited record, the idea that plaintiffs would welcome an opportunity to have, some of their witnesses come to court to testify and all of those things, because we have a technical, uncurable deficiency here and an admission by the defendants that, hey, we never actually presented the voters that signed these things with the required language of 23-7. And so, for that reason alone, Your Honor.
Well, let's be specific what you're claiming is not on there. Because 23-7, right, specifically what are you claiming was not presented to them?
Sure. The admissions from the plaintiffs are that the voters are not signing a piece of paper that sets forth that they are qualified voters of the state, congressional district, county, or election district. They don't say that because that's not on the additional signature page. It does not say that they desire to nominate the candidates. It does not say that they are members, that the voters are members of the political party. It does not say that they endorse the persons or persons named in the petition as a candidate or candidates for nomination of the office. It does not say that they request that the name of the person be printed upon the official primary ballot. And it does not say, and does not have, the residence and post office address of each person so endorsed, meaning the candidates. It also doesn't allow them to certify that the candidates are legally qualified under the laws of the state to be nominated, or that they are members of a political party named in the petition. All it does is it says they're signing something that says Party Democratic, office in this case Township Council, candidate name, and it just says all signers must sign and print their name on the lines provided in compliance with 1923-7. Signature and handprint name and address. So the requirement that they sign, print their name, and put their address is really the only one that's satisfied on these petition pages. And so when we go through these, as I said, Mr. Shei's first 2 pages in the council candidates, which has some total of 10 signatures, I would say that one is valid because Mr. Shei testified that that's what was presented to those voters. The next time in the council candidate petition that page with the "we the undersigned" language appears is page 30 of 35, which we talked about with Mr. Mehta, which was the page that he circulated that didn't have the candidate names on it at all. And so that wouldn't satisfy the requirements of the statute. And then finally, with respect to Lav Patel's petition, the only time the candidate name appears is never, actually, because Mr. Patel testified that he filled those pages out on Friday night and left them at the office and had his volunteers and others coming and picking up the additional signature pages throughout the weekend to be circulated. So he admitted that page 2 of Plaintiff's Exhibit 17, which is the section that has the "we the undersigned" language that the voters attesting to, was never presented to any one of the individuals that endorsed the entire petition. And so I would submit respectfully, Your Honor, that that alone is cause, under preponderance of the evidence standard, based upon the face of the documents, the testimony of the witnesses here, and the admissions that they made regarding the petition collection process, is more than adequate to say that these petitions don't satisfy the requirements of the law, and therefore these candidates cannot appear on the ballot for the primary election.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple, a lot of remarks in response, but I'm going to focus first, Judge, on a procedural issue, which is it appears that this hearing has turned from what we initially started, which was issues with regard to circulators, and now plaintiffs have now pivoted to essentially what is a brand new argument. The argument and the issues that are now being raised is in closing arguments is the first time that that issue has ever been articulated in any piece of paper that's been put in front of this court or the clerk below. I was looking because I thought perhaps I had missed it. So while we were sitting here, count 2, which is what counsel just argued about in the verified complaint, other than having basically a general comment about, well, they violated all of Title 19, which even under our state's very generous pleading standards, I don't think you can just cite an entire section of statute and say that that's sufficient to give anybody notice of what's being alleged. The only 2 specific statutes that are mentioned in count 2 is 19:13-7 and 19:23-11. And those 2 statutes deal with circulators. One thing just to comment on, Judge, while the section deals with general election petitions and primary petitions have similar numbers, one's 13 and one's 23, they're not identical. So 19:23-7 is not the same statute as 19:13-7. So the statutes that are cited in the verified petition that we're here for all specifically address circulator requirements of the circulator, and of course all the facts that were submitted with that go to all the things that we heard testimony on, or that we thought we would hear testimony on today, which was regard to the allegations that voters said, one person showed up and I only thought they were here for somebody else, and it turns out they were for 3 candidates, not 1, or those allegations. So I don't believe that the argument that counsel just raised is even properly in front of this court. The alleged deficiencies that they're raising, it's not, the packet has been available now for 2 weeks. So to the extent that there's an argument that said, well, you know, they should have had these cover pages, and there should have been multiple cover pages, that fact existed when these things were filed on, you know, Monday the 23rd. So that issue could have been presented to the clerk. The clerk obviously accepted these petitions, not having multiple cover pages. It could have been raised at any point in time before this. So procedurally, I don't think the issue of whether or not 19:23-7 has been complied with or violated is even before the court, to the extent that it's implicit with regard to the fact that the clerk accepted these petitions. Again, the clerk accepted them. No arguments have been raised to the clerk that she should not have accepted them. No issues or allegations have been included in the verified complaint until this moment that they should have been accepted on that basis. And for that basis alone, I think this court could reject that argument. To the extent that the court considers the argument, I disagree with counsel with regard to both the facts and the law. There is no cases that address the issue that he's raised, because this is not, campaigns all the time use additional sheets. I'm pretty sure if you were to check the opposing candidates' petitions here, you might find the same thing. The fact that volunteers get signature pages that may not include the entire cover page, there's no law, again, there's no case, counsel, I agree on that. There's no case that says that failing to do that alone is a warrants removal of all the signatures. The petitions that we have here, not a single one that was submitted by the plaintiffs suggests that somebody asked to see a form and was denied. Judge, I know that counsel and I have both been involved in numerous campaigns. I will not speak for him, but I've gone out and got signatures for candidates, and I've never once had somebody come to me and say, well, can I see the front page of that? I want to inspect it and read the fine print. That's just not what happens. People go, they get the signatures at the door, they knock on it, would you please support this person or that person for whatever the race is, and the person either signs it or doesn't sign it. Here, nobody has suggested that they wanted to see it and were denied. Nobody has suggested that, you know, that the lack of a cover page on each sheet was somehow the definitive decision as to whether they signed or didn't sign.
Well,
More importantly,
the petition that was used in this case and the additional sheets are all standard forms from the county clerk's office to be used for the county municipality. Council now raises is that, well, that's fine, but they should have had the first page attached to it or somewhere.
Correct, Judge. And I don't know that, you know, again, I don't believe that the statute that he's citing stands for the proposition that every petition signature actually must be contained with a fully executed cover sheet from each candidate. Could it be best practice? I'm not disagreeing with counsel that it could be best practice, that it could avoid an argument or any confusion or any other issues. But best practice doesn't mean that that is a law. And the cases that deal with circulator petitions, some of which counsel cited, all also stand for two propositions. One is that when we're dealing with primary petitions as opposed to general direct nominating petitions, the standard is much more lenient. We're dealing with a primary petition versus a general election petition. I believe counsel cited McCaskey in one of his papers. The McCaskey case is an appellate division case where they found there was fraud in the procurement of the signatures, and the appellate division threw out the petition. And nearly every single case that has cited that has distinguished it, because in that case it was a general election direct petition, and when it's applied to primary petitions as a starting point, the courts say, yeah, we're a lot more lenient on primary petitions. Even to the fact that if you compare the circulator affidavits between a primary and a general election, in a primary election, they don't actually say that the circulator personally saw every signature be circulated. There's cases, it was the Eck versus oh gosh, I just had it up here. Well, one of them was New Jersey Democratic State Committee versus Kipnis, which was 2018 NJ Agency Lexus 242, 2018 case. I can give the court the OL docket too. And I'm sorry, and then Lita Eck was Daily, D-A-I-L-Y versus Eck, East UK. That was another law division case, 2013 NJ AGEN Lexus 176. That's from June 18th of 2013. I think those are both in our written submission from earlier this week, Judge. But both of those were instances where, you know, somebody was passing around like a clipboard at a meeting, where the candidate or the circulator was in the presence of somebody who was circulating. And kind of like we heard today with testimony, where there may have been, in one instance or two instances, candidate went out with somebody, they didn't actually go in the house, or they didn't physically see each signature. That's not required by a circulator. And in all the cases that evaluate circulator petition issues, they always come back to, the starting point is there a sufficient number of signatures. If there is a sufficient number of valid signatures, and there's no evidence of bad faith, people may have screwed up. This is not an I gotcha type of argument type of situation where if you miss crossing one T or dotting one I, we remove a candidate from the ballot. The courts look at good faith, and they look at whether or not there's a sufficient number of valid voters who have signed. If there is no evidence, or not sufficient evidence of intentional fraudulent conduct or bad faith, and there's valid number of signatures, then other technical deficiencies have been overlooked by court after court after court. Especially when it comes to getting candidates on the ballot, and especially in the primary. So here, Your Honor, working backwards from counsel's closing arguments, the first issue is in front of the court, to the extent it is, that the law would not suggest that not having that cover page on there is a fatal deficient. There was no testimony about what the instructions were from the Edison municipal clerk as to, you know, there was a counsel put in the exhibit from Middlesex County. I think Mr. Shei may be the only one who testified to it, but there's no evidence anybody looked at that. Anybody can put out forms. There's nothing in the statute that requires a particular use of forms. The candidates all testified, and the circulators all testified that in almost every instance, the names were already filled out. So, Your Honor can obviously judge the credibility of whether Your Honor believes the names were already filled out or not. I believe all the candidates testified pretty credibly that these names were filled out either by, somebody beforehand or themselves, and that they were all circulated. The court also has affidavits from other individuals who indicate that they were signed out as well. Obviously, there's individuals not here, but likewise, the people who claim that they weren't signed, they're not here either, Judge. But you do have the testimony from 3 individuals who they're all sequestered, so all the testimony was separate. They all said essentially the same thing, that for the first 2 candidates of Anjana Patel and the council candidates, they were pre-filled out. They volunteers, they came in, they got the sheets, the names are already on there. And then for Love Patel for mayor, that was a little bit different because it was last minute. Some of them may have been pre-filled out, some of them were done by the circulators. So here, Judge, under count 2, without belaboring the point, the compliance with the statute has been done from a substantial standpoint. And there'd be no reason to remove the candidates based on any arguments that have been made here. I will point out that we do make sure that there's 2 separate, there's the mayoral candidate of Love Patel, and there's the 3 council candidates, which obviously are 2 separate petitions. Council, going back to where I thought we were going to be today, which is talking about circulator issues and what's in the verified complaint. When it comes to Love Patel for mayor, the issues that have been raised was that Shei circulated 3 petitions. The affidavits, as Your Honor pointed out at the beginning of this hearing, are a little bit internally inconsistent, but Mr. Shei testified very credibly about his interaction with those voters, the circumstances surrounding him getting those signatures, And I don't believe that the plaintiffs have met their burden to show that Shei intentionally misled any voters with regard to who the petition that was being signed was for. Even to the extent, Judge, that we asked the other day about number of signatures, Mr. Shei's signatures on that he collected, I believe if I counted correctly, were 38. Love Patel has 267. Again, going back to remedy here, they didn't meet their burden of proof with regard to any allegations as to Mr. Shei's conduct. And even if they had, removal from Mr. Shei, who's not a candidate, at most would amount to 38 signatures, not impact the validity of Love Patel's petition. The allegations against Love Patel, who circulated, are even narrower when you look at the certifications submitted. I couldn't, even going back, find exactly what they said that Love Patel himself did, other than bringing up the fact that he also circulated Anjana Patel's petition. It seems that counsel has moved away from that theory a little bit in the closing argument from where we were last week, but there is nothing that's been presented that suggests that a circulator for one candidate cannot circulate for another. There's no law on that. The circulators don't say that. All they do is say that we circulated the petitions and that it was prepared for those candidates. I don't even think the certification actually says that they support the candidate that they're circulating it for. But even if they do, you've heard the chronology of events, and there is nothing under the law that suggests that in the situation that we have here, that you can't change your mind of who you support, your situation can't change, and you can't decide to run yourself. I think the testimony was all consistent and credible amongst the three people who testified as to what occurred. Yes, they're all a team. They were all supporting Anjana Patel for mayor until she started getting phone calls, text messages from the current mayor and his supporters. She started to get nervous about her candidacy, and hence Love stepped forward and said, well, if you're not going to run, I am. So I think all three testified credibly to that chronology of events. There's no law that's been suggested that would bar Love Patel's candidacy because of his prior support of Anjana Patel's candidacy. And last but not least, Judge, we have the three the council candidate petitions. You heard from Mr. Mehta today, and he addressed the three main buckets of complaints against him. The first being that he did not tell people that it was for all three candidates. He testified that the names were on all the petitions except for the 2 pages that didn't have the lines for them. He testified that he informed all those people. Despite counsel's insinuation that the individuals who did submit affidavits claimed that he lied to them or misled them, that's not what those affidavits even said. It just said that he asked them to sign up for him. They thought it was for him. It turns out it was for all three. Judge, it's very possible that some of these people really just believed it was for one candidate. He's the one at their door. It's possible that they could have believed it, just misunderstood what was occurring. Not necessarily saying that all of them are lying or intentionally misleading it. Some of them may have their own interests in terms of their other politics or other reasons why they may have submitted certifications after the fact. But again, nothing has been presented here suggests that Mr. Mehta intentionally misled anybody. And in fact, he testified that it wasn't in his interest to do so. There's no theory here. This is not a situation, back up, Judge, where the council candidates barely got in. They needed 100 signatures and they got in with 105, and there's an allegation that at the last minute they needed to flip one page in, because if not, they were going to be under the number. That's the kind of situation where you hear a lot of these kind of allegations about, we're short, we better do something real quick. Let's just fill out the other names for the last 2 pages to get us over the hump. These candidates had more than enough signatures for council candidates. There was no need for them to play games with who they were supporting. There's no theory being presented by the plaintiffs as to why these candidates would be intentionally trying to mislead people. And Mr. Mehta testified that he was proud that he was running with a diverse ticket. It's important in Edison to put together a coalition of different groups of individuals. and he supported that. His name was even second on the ballot in terms of when you look at the order on the sheets. So if Mr. Mehta was going around and putting one name on and then adding the other two later, the idea that he would put his name in the middle and then add the other two, it doesn't make sense. And the other theory, which is that there was no names on any of these petitions at any period of time, also is not credible, because that would suggest, under counsel's theory, that hundreds and hundreds of people signed a piece of paper that did not have a cover sheet, didn't have any names on the actual sheets, had absolutely nothing on it, yet all these people in Edison just signed it with no names. Neither of those theories are credible, and the testimony doesn't bear it out. So, Judge, with regard to, in summary, in regard here, plaintiff submitted a verified complaint. Count one, which I'm not sure if I follow exactly what it is, because it cites a criminal statute which has no private cause of action. If there's criminal activity, then that's not for this court. To the extent that it is a general fraud-based claim, which I think is what they're trying to get at, with regard, paragraph 56 talks about claiming for different candidates, claiming for misrepresentation for office, and all that stuff. It's a clear and convincing standard, and it also must be applied to the petition that we're talking about. And there is absolutely no evidence, let alone by clear and convincing evidence, that the Love Patel for mayor petitions have any indication of fraud. There is no evidence that the, well, I guess there's evidence, but not credible based on who's testifying. The allegations that a handful of residents for the council petition believed it was for one candidate and not all three. Even if Your Honor credits that testimony, that does not mean that there was fraud in the petition sufficient to warrant removal of all three candidates in their entirety from office. And count two we talked about already, which is the violations of the circulator petitions, which we've addressed, I think, ad nauseum. The last thing I'll just comment on briefly, Judge, is there's allegations about Anjana Patel's petitions. There was dialogue at the end between Mr. Parikh and Mr. Mehta with regard to the petitions that were related to Anjana Patel's certification. One, that's not relevant here in terms of if any petitions were not properly certified for Anjana Patel's certification. There's no merit in the other two. However, I think Mr. Mehta answered the questions, which was he went around with individuals in the case to get a couple more signatures from for Ms. Patel at the request of the circulator. As I mentioned, the case law, the Eck case, the Kipnis case, all talk about the fact that when you're dealing with circulators in primary petitions, if you're the circulator, somebody's in the area, and they're working with you as a team, that doesn't violate the requirements. And in fact, the circulator affidavit doesn't even require the circulator to say he saw each one, just that he's aware that these are the people who signed it. So for all those reasons, Judge, this case should be dismissed with prejudice. The clerk has reviewed it, the clerk has accepted it, and as the clerk mentioned, even if one or two of the signatures were stricken, there is no basis for moving on. And for those reasons, Judge, the court should dismiss the case.
Thank you. I want to thank all counsel for their presentations and really dealing with some very tight time constraints. And I appreciate your good work and your arguments. I will take it from here. I will try to get this done as quickly as possible and hope to have something probably by tomorrow morning. So, I thank you all. Mr. Moshe, enjoy the rest of your vacation, what's left of it, and counsel, thank you all. You'll hear from me tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.